this second, but if it is live right now, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We've gone over all the news, a little bit of back and forth from the China stuff last week, if you guys recall, but a lot of focus right now on Asia, what's going on with the Taiwan dollar, and then ultimately, what are you going to get out of Jerome Powell and Scott Bessent this week? So, did it go live yet? I can't even hear my echo yet. Oh, there it is. So, yeah, other than that, we've covered all of the headlines. It should be pretty simple. Again, you do have Asia, a couple places in Asia and Europe closed, so I would say today's going to be a little lighter. But other than that, the week of Powell data, everything there is going to be the main focus from U.S. central bank policy and then whatever we hear about trade. So there was a couple of plays out there, and I think now would be a good time. I think I'm going to go over it now. But, yeah, I got a couple plays. I'm going to be watching Netflix, Disney, K-Web, India, NVO, Skechers. They went private. We have an old play, but I don't think those are going to hit. And then Nike and then TSM. Again, I'm very focused on the TSM today. Or not TSM, but Taiwan and what happened there with the dollar. Like I was saying there earlier, it's pretty much a reverse flash crash. You know, if that Taiwan dollar was weakening, I would be panicking right now. But the fact that it strengthened, it's kind of a little better, but you don't make a one-day move like that. And the fact that there is a holiday, that's kind of what's exasperating that move there. So we'll see how it all plays out. But Chatadonia, you are here right now. You got a little bit of time. What is your first play of the day, baby? What is your first play of the day? What do you got for me? Let's go. Core Weave, Bull, Spy Calls, Delta, Chat Calls, Law Term, Trump Live, National Emergency, DAL, Netflix Put, EWT, SKX Buyout, Palantir, Trump Live, National Emergency, Palantir, TQQ, Law Term, Disney Put, Soy Spy or Soy, Iron Condor, Coupang, both ways, looking for CBOE, UVXY, PSLV, XLE, Fubo, Launch Shares, holding Ethereum, at an ACHC, EQNR, Long Term, TLT Puts, Log MCL, watching SKX, The Bible, Gold, Platinum, NVIDIA Puts, holding Ethereum, and the final plays. GLD calls Palantir, LT calls CL, K-Web straddle, and Nike call. And Nike, let's go. Good morning. Good morning. Is Trump actually live? I don't know if he is. So other than that, man, let's see where this takes us. But yeah, I got to go to the bathroom, so I kind of hope he's live. But I don't see him. Trump calls media. I think that's a replay, but I don't see him yet. But other than that, Chatadonia, we got SMCI dying. We got about 4 minutes, so decent amount of time. And I'll see you here. Apollo.
BRIV.
All right, BRB.
This is about
Good morning.
Privates better understood and more acceptable. Privates, as you know, we started with the notion that private was risky and public was safe. And when something's risky, you stick it in a little bucket called alternative, and you want really high returns of it. Well, now we have individuals buying privates. We have retirement services insurance companies buying privates. We now have traditional asset managers buying privates. I think what we're watching take place in the traditional asset management industry is a redefinition of what active management is. Active management used to be the buying and selling of stocks. Now I believe it is the addition of private markets to public portfolios. Yep. Some of them will come in wrappers that investors understand. Every mutual fund has a 15% private bucket. ETFs have a private bucket. The more acceptance we have for private, the better demand we have for private, the more buyers there are for private. That's where I think we're heading, and it's our job not to grow too fast.
And you believe that the liquidity constraints can be figured out? I mentioned this as well because you're right, Blackstone is certainly moving down this road. BlackRock, I've talked to Larry Fink about that. There's no doubt that they want to try and make a similar offering. So there is going to be more opportunity for the people who are listening at home right now to potentially participate in this market, but
they
what
will.
About the liquidity problem?
Well, two things. They will participate, but they're not necessarily going to participate by being a client of Apollo or Blackstone or anyone else directly. They have a relationship with an existing asset manager, and what they're going to do is they're going to participate in the private market through the traditional asset manager packaging public and private. We're watching these partnerships get formed every single day. This market is very, very large. In terms of trading, this is about acceptance. In the investment grade market, I think that is the first market that is private that will become liquid. It will not surprise me to see the levered loan market become liquid.
Levered loan market.
The difference between a broadly syndicated loan and a piece of private credit is only whether there are many buyers or one buyer. It's not inherently a different product.
These sound like more sophisticated Sam Bankmans. I felt like this was going to be a pitch for CEP. I was like, wait, what is this? But Apollo, private markets, all of that. Wait, chillin'. So good morning, baby. You are still down a little bit. Again, some of the cold water on the China stuff. Even though he did make some earlier comments, but he kind of batted it down there. Other than that, we will see what happens in terms of data. And the whole week is all about Powell. So you do have ISM services. I would argue that ISM manufacturing is more important, but when it's all said and done, I do think Jerome Powell, the back half of earnings, and then whatever happens with these trade deals. The other thing I will tell you is we're coming off of a big streak. Don't forget, it's been the biggest rally since 2004. So 9 days in a row. This is our first red day if we actually close here, but the momentum is good. The FOMO is high. You have things that are closed overseas. So as long as it's not just bad sentiment, we'll see how we start off on Monday. But other than that, you might get other headlines related to trade. And when that, if it is new, that's probably what's going to move us. Otherwise, it's going to be all about Jerome Powell. And even then, we made the joke yesterday, but keep in mind, Jerome Powell, all we're going to be doing is arguing about what he didn't say. And I think that's hilarious because it's not, Jerome Powell shouldn't do much, even though he's the big important guy and there's a lot going on. Just remember, the last couple of times, Jerome Powell has flip-flopped multiple times, and you can't kind of get flip-flop by staying neutral, more or less. But when it's all said and done, we're really just going to debate about what he didn't say or how he said something. But, yeah, we'll find out. But other than that, Chad, you got about 30 seconds. Like that video. Call out anything. You need help, you let me know. And let's have a good one. And God bless America. And shout out to the vets, baby. That's good. I had a good weekend, bro. I chilled. I didn't go anywhere. I went to the beach and stuff. I relaxed. But, yeah, oh, man. I liked it, bro. I liked it. I miss driving. I like driving, but I didn't drive. And I was posted, bro. I did stretches. I did a lot of workouts during the weekend at home. I was going to make you guys a video, but then I fell asleep. I took a nap. It was great. Round one. Fight. All righty. So, again, watch out for any of the, stocks? Any of the media companies. So, again, the tariffs there. Remember, we were just talking about Netflix being tariff-proof. Not. So, yeah, Netflix is down $40 off of that. They were down 5% at one point. Again, you got a couple of still high-profile earnings this week, like NVO and a few others, so keep that in mind. And then, again, Skechers. Why is Wendy's on the high? And then the Skechers things brought up Nike, Deck, Ralph Lauren, all of those. Actually, they're still red, though. Alrighty. They won't give me that. Sorry. No, I'm here. Yeah. Hold on. I'm looking at it. It's like tripping out on the chain. I'm like, wait a minute. But yeah, I found another cheap ass play, but you got to be careful. Because again, some of these like 1-2 cent plays, you guys have to watch out because it's like these plays aren't going to move and they're not good. But then if you're only like, again, you could get 10 of them for $20. You could get 5 of them for $10. You know what I'm saying? So one of them, I grabbed 5 of them, but now the spread just went insane. So I spent $10, but if you hit it on the ask, that'll cost you $100. So that's what I'm trying to explain it here. And then Palantir, we talked about that a lot. Oh, I forgot about Tesla. And then Bobo as well, too. And then you guys, the Reddits, I forgot about those. There's a spread. This is E-Trade Pro, my friend. Good morning. Good morning. And then Babas just have a wide-ass spread. That's crazy. Even the K-Webs, for crying out loud. Bro, there's still the K-Webs that are up 12. Remember, I think we have two different sets. But yeah, surprisingly, even though China's not moving, some of these plays are still holding up. Very, very fascinating. Wide-ass spreads, though. Morning, SoFi, AMD pop, Tesla on the low. Yeah, bro, it's already May. Do you guys realize that? Isn't that wild? It is literally already May. May 16th is some of these contracts. Baba's going up there. So, again, watch China. They did good on Friday. Just, again, a little bit of cold water over the weekend. Elf is starting to go up. Like I said, any of these clothing plays, retail, after Skechers, they're kind of all catching a boost. Boeing, just wait till Bradley Frizzle pops up. Amen, amen. Hi, man. 5K for the long term, little by little, man. Little by little. You know, I can't stress that enough. We could go over the long term in a little bit, but, you know, whatever amount, and there's still a couple of names that are down, but you see a lot of volatility. Some people don't think this is a bear market rally. Some do, like myself, but I think we still got a wild year ahead of us, and really little by little, that has played very well for us. So, you know, even then we waited and we struck at the last moment, but, you know, that slow move. Oh! This slow move helped, and there's a fast one right there. Bradley Frizzle in the peach, baby. Horn. He said, happy Monday. Oh, he was there the whole time. Ain't that a philo? He was there the whole time, Peach Nation. God bless America. TTD on the high. The peach is peaching away, bro. The peach is peaching away. And Boeing is insane. And then, let's see. I only made one play this morning. I'm not going to play till, like, later, though. Hold on. I might wait. I might hold off on that. Because I don't know. Like we talked about last week, it's either we're going to get a lot of action at the beginning of the week, or the beginning of the week might just be the trap. So we'll find out. Reddit's going up. AMD. Remember, Reddit was up a lot more. So like I said, we had old contracts. They didn't really move, but now the spreads are starting to widen out. And then again, Baba options are starting to wake up a little bit. They actually held from last weekend. Oh, and then JD. That's the other one. That's the lagger. BSGM, SPY, through the high. We're still down 0.6. Again, even on the watch list, both of them from yesterday. You guys have the prices. So don't forget, just 5714. You're right there still. You're right below it, but 5655, and then, yeah, we have to get back to the 81 and then 5700. And then Apple on the low right now. AMAT. Again, I see a lot of AMD comments from the chat. Macy's on the high. That one's interesting. But again, clothing, Skechers, all of that, they are moving. Oh, again, K-Webs are up. My goodness. Palant. Cho, welcome. Good morning. You had a baby girl? Wow, dude, a lot. There was Chad had twins. He sent me a picture, bro. Congratulations. Wow, a lot of you guys had kids this weekend. Like, literally, you had a kid. It's amazing. Happy birthday to the little ones. Get them a long term. Woo! Okay, Baba's going up. Disney's recovered a little bit. So, again, that Netflix stuff and the whole tariff stuff. Wells Fargo CEO on CNBC. A lot of volume coming in. Airbnb on the high. Googly Woogly's moving up. Where's Wally World? Walmart's barely in the green. XLV was holding up in the morning. They flipped. Staples down. Everything's down. I mean, 0.7 on NASDAQ and SPY, 0.45 down on the Dow, and then Russell down by 0.79. I love this place. Get the long term, and the long term loves you. Amen, bro. I missed you guys. It's good to be back. Yeah, Walt Disney's still down. There's another headline on that. Just reiterating the Trump stuff. EEFT. All bad news oil. I mean, yeah, it's the OPEC stuff. I mean, you could short oil. You could play like USO. TSM's popping. Oh, yeah, TSM, bro. I keep forgetting with the whole with the whole Taiwan thing. AMD, they're all kind of going crazy. I want to grab TSM, like I said. I just don't want to. I don't want to go too soon yet till we get some answers. I want to see that momentum. Pizza Delta on the high. NVO waking up. Contracts haven't moved yet. So let's see. That long term. Bro, long term is crazy. Bro, long term is so good. My liberal sister is mad she made money. You know what I'm saying? Like, she thought, she really, like, she was asking me, should she stop investing? And now she's up like 17% or something. She's like pissed. So you know that? She's like bothered that she made money. She doesn't, like, it's not like calculating for her. And I'm like, yeah, it's legit. What's up? So yeah, shout out to long term. DLB. And then TSM is going. I really like those. And then MSTR on the low now. Hot dog. Damn, MSTR is down 3-4. I guess Bitcoin's down 3-1 too. And then let me get a safe haven up here. Damn, the yen. Oh, that has to be because the Taiwan dollar. So just like 2 Mondays ago, you're having a big currency moves. So again, the Taiwan thing is insane, but I didn't really. You guys were asking about the dollar, but it makes a lot of sense. Like the follow through all across the world right now is just very large. So I don't know. I think the currencies are gonna kind of be in their one little zone because the yen's up 1% right now. So again, bonds are doing almost exactly the opposite of that. MPC on the high. But yeah, until that kind of levels out, there's going to be a weird hangover, or it's just going to be hard to see until maybe middle of the day if the safe havens like level out. But yeah, that's big. Aris, Delta, again, airlines keep going. Like I was telling you guys, yeah, the K-Web's holding up great. But like I told you with airlines and oil, just remember, the lower we go, some of those plays are going to start benefiting off of that. SNDK, the data, well, I think we might wait till Powell, but you never know. I just think the debate was between bear market rally or not, but it's not as if, again, I don't think the ISM services is going to be the set-all, be-all, but head on a swivel. That's all we could do. You're already down by almost 1%. NVO's doing great. Yeah, the play's already moved up there too, so handle if you need to. The closer ones to the money fucking ripped. Like, actually, they're already up 250%. The other ones didn't go up. The other ones went up 50%. So, yeah, not bad, though. Again, old TTD's running up there as well. Watch Google. Apple is selling off right now. Spy Iron Commodore. I'm sitting. You love them, baby. Good luck. I like it. You keep posting your plays too, bro. Over Big Pop. Uber. They're up by 0.65. Not too many names are moving right now, so anything green, keep an eye on it and see if it holds. Spy kind of getting a candle here at the bottom, but you're still down again about 3/4, a little bit more. Nasdaq's closer to 1%. Volvo. And Nike. I like Nike, man. I really do. And we have cash, but so we're going to wait, though, a little bit. Nike, again, that 53 is the one I wanted, but I feel kind of bad that it's up that much. Is Apple still going? Saw it on the low, too. Oh, yeah. Damn. Apple's hideous. 2%. The fuck? That's a lot. And then Tesla's down 2.6. Again, Google is doing great. So Google just flipped red, but they're up there. Nvidia's down by 0.7. Amazon, not too good. Remember, Amazon wasn't that hot of an earnings. You know, these companies did good, but remember, there was still some disappointment. Even Apple. I don't know if Apple's because of the bond offering. I think China could be part of it as well, too. Remember, today was a little bit of cold water on that front. And Apple wasn't that good. Apple, Amazon, I really think Google and Meta were like the good earnings, but other than that, I think Apple and Amazon were just adequate. Or Microsoft was the good one. Okay, Eli Lilly, NVO, that one's still going. Okay. K-Web, U.S. stocks down 1.01. Oh, Apple TV movies. You're right. I don't think people have really mentioned that, but yeah, that would apply. I think that was wild. Do you guys realize how crazy the movie thing is? There's no such thing like that ever. Like, there's nothing like that that exists. So it's kind of like trying to tariff a digital good. It's a very wicked concept, but it's like very unique. If you're not aware, but this whole like idea of tariffing foreign movies, it's a really wild precedent that we haven't really ever tried. So that's why it's funny too, because then remember how many people were like, "Oh, it's tariff proof, Netflix." But no, I guess Netflix was down 5% at one point. It's going up though. SPY, a lot of things are waking up right here. Meta, yeah, they're starting to move up again. Baba, K-Web, NVO, they're all doing good. Cardinal Health, Watch XLV, and again, Delta Airlines. I keep seeing them there, and oil is a big loser here on the day. Well, actually, it was only down by 1.5. It was still down a lot more earlier. Hims hires Nadar Kabani, longtime Amazon exec, helped launch Amazon Pharmacy. Hims, Uber on the high. UAL, Delta again, and now Dell. So Dell's actually up pretty good. And then remember WDC, that was another good earnings not too long ago. That it was a bear market. Well, if you've been following along, that's what sucks is like if you try to just follow the sound bites in this market, you will get confused. Because technically we never hit a bear market. We were talking about that a couple weeks ago. From peak to trough, we went down 19%. So it was almost a bear market. But what we're calling this is a bear market rally. At least that's what I believe until there is a structural shift. Because we did go down a lot. You're moving up, but just like 2021. ISM services, 50.8. Estimate was 51.2. So, again, composite, 51.2 versus 50.6. So it came in lower. ISM services was bad. So see if it's bad news, good news. But like I said, I think ISM manufacturing, the job market, like we talked about on the watch list last night, that's probably your big effect. You have China ripping, though, right now. They're starting to catch a little bit more. But yeah, so like I'm saying, it's I think this is a bear market rally. I think we'll get it. That's what happened in 2022, 2018, until the trade deals or policy really shifts, or until Powell does and the rates or the jobs market. Something structural has to. Otherwise, I think we're in the same position as the beginning of the year. So even on the way down, I didn't really think things were that bad, and now I still think it's relatively the same. So I think we're gonna have a lot of emotions. It'll be confusing, and at the same time, when I say bear market rally, if you really want to understand, the one thing I hope is that you guys all protect yourself. And I say bear market rally, I still bought some things, and I'm still flexible in the sense that anything could happen, but just don't be the person who didn't want to buy it 20% ago, and then 2 days later you're willing to buy it for no damn reason. And that's what I'm saying, where a lot of people in 1-2 weeks, they're going from, oh my gosh, I almost died, to, oh my gosh, I'm getting married. It's wild. It's like it's watching people really freak out at one moment and then being very optimistic and then paying for it as well. So that's why I really think things are moving fast in terms of pricing, but the developments are very, very minor. And until we get that, I would doubt everything. And hence even this rally, even the downside too. The bear could disappear and the bull could disappear just with the stroke of a pen. So there's NVIDIA, Microsoft. Dude, it's really, really weird balance now because Apple is flushing. Microsoft and Google are ripping. So you have half of the Mag 7 up, half the Mag 7 down. I think even Meta's holding. So and then Netflix is down, trying to go up. Well, you'll see. I've seen, dude, it's crazy. I've seen the amount of like fear to exuberance is wicked. And just be careful. That's why I'm saying you guys are going to deal with even a lot of arrogance too. And don't let that give you FOMO. You know, I see people say, oh, you think it's a bear market rally? How could you think it's just like, dude, 2 weeks ago, people were like, oh my gosh, America's over. Oh my gosh, we don't know about history. There's no America. And it's just like, don't get caught up in that. Like I've been trying to tell you guys, and I think there's some real things you could watch, policy, trade, rates, the jobs market especially. Until that cracks, we have nothing to really talk about. But it just goes slow with it. We got to buy a great dip, and it was nice, but I still don't think our work is. I'm not celebrating it. I don't think you should either. I think we have a lot more in store. Okay, so SPY's still holding. Like I'm saying, you're getting a real pull apart right now. S&P data or ISM services was just negative. But the market barely budged. Bonds moved more. Oh, wait, that's the S&P one. Yeah, that's not even the main one. So, yeah, give it another 10 more minutes. But all right, let's get the ISM. That was just S&P PMI. The Buffett news, end of an era, but it's good. I'm glad he kind of he sounded old, man. So I'm glad I hope he enjoys life. I got to learn a lot from Buffett. And remember, kids, do as Buffett does, not what he says. But yeah, I was surprised. Okay, Google's still going. Fortinet, DoorDash, CrowdStrike, a lot of cyber names starting to move up here right now. Again, NASDAQ actually just slashed half of that loss. So 3/4, we're almost down 1%. Tesla still, again, airlines, bro. Airlines are running it. Where is Starbucks? Disney on the high. So even more. Disney might go green. They were red off of the news. Yeah, Starbucks still down. Yeah, Disney's only down 3/4 now. Palo Alto and Okta. Bro, cybersecurity. We were just talking about that last week. Yeah, Okta just had a rip. I don't know if that's specific news or what. Apple sub 200. Get eyes on cybersecurity. Something's going on there. And then SPY tweaking out. I remember we had some good plays on Okta. Damn, Okta's came up a lot. Still kind of guttered. Tesla flushing. Again, airlines still doing great. Low ticker, high ticker balance, though. There's still some up, some down. CEP going, Tesla flushing into the low right now. And then watch cyber names. Again, I've seen like 5 different names all hit the high right now, cyber related. Is Netflix? Yeah, dude, Netflix down 2. It was down 5% at one point. That was the crazy part. NVO still holding. Where's Nikes? Okay, and then Apple. Apple's down 3%. I think Apple might just be a delayed earnings reaction, because they did report. It was there was a lot of hype and everything else, but then, yeah, 3% isn't small. Meanwhile, everybody else who already reported kind of doing their own thing. ServiceNow again on the high. Software, cyber plays, they're all kind of holding up great. Oh, maybe because of the Buffett news. That's a good take. Okay, SPY starting to go down. Bonds, we still got one more set of data in 9 minutes. Whatever you just got was a pump fake. I think airlines are running because of oil. I said this last week, and make no mistake, Wall Street is very well aware of it. Because I told you guys in real time, and then over the weekend, people, again, Michael Wilson and a few others, they were writing reports on oil and the impact and what it does to Asia, what it does to Europe, domestic names, travel, transports, all of that. So I think oil's just clobbered, and that's, like I said, anything below like $59, I think is a net positive for most travel names. Buffett stepped down. Buffett is no longer the chairman or CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. So starting next year, but he's stepping down, handing the reins to Greg Abel. And Greg Abel's been trained for like 10 years. So it's kind of people aren't really too freaked out. Okay, bonds after the little pop and lock. Remember, you did have bad data. Service data was lower. So I don't know if we're going to get a good news, bad news, bad news, good news. But interesting bond moves. Remember, the yen and everything is kind of getting in the way because yen is up like 1% and this isn't. So see, and then, yeah, 7 more minutes. Uber's still going, 86. Coherus on the high. Coherus, decent pop. Coherent. My goodness. Are you ready? Yeah, the names that already reported and holding up, they're doing fine. That's what's interesting about it. That's why I'm like, Apple's big. I think Apple's adding a lot of drag, but you have things. I'll give you guys a checkup after the data. Top of the hour, we'll get that thing updated, and then we'll see. Yeah, Bitcoin and MSTR. Bitcoin was dropping from the morning. But remember, Bitcoin inflows in April was one of the highest all year. I thought that was actually fascinating. Would you buy XYZ? I don't know. Because like I used to like XYZ. I mean, I did buy PayPal. Everybody would ask me about XYZ. And I said if you really wanted, you could buy both of them. But I like PayPal. I think PayPal is even a tricky stock in terms of its price and how it moves and valuation. But I've lost a little bit of faith in XYZ. But I don't know. So it's not really one on my list right now. And I think if you wanted growth and upside, I think you could just find other names that are beaten down, but I'm not really, I'm not really the biggest fan of it. I like UPS. That one's one I really want. Dude, somebody said it on the watch list. They commented it. I didn't hear about it. Is there a rumor of Amazon in UPS? But other than that, I like UPS dividend and just, what can Brown do for you, You all know. And it's not moving if you notice. SPY coming up here back to VWAP. There will be news. We're going to hear from, I don't know if it'll be after the bell, but Scott Bessent. Scott Bessent is going to be talking, and then we get the ISM services in about 5 minutes. And then that should be it. UPS should benefit from low oil, yes. I think they just had their earnings, and they're still struggling, but the net effect, yes, they should. We just had S&P PMI. We have an ISM. The ISM services. That's the big one. We ignore the PMIs. They came in, bonds moved a little bit. Yo, RSI? Whoa, RSI. What's that? Rush Street Interactive? What is it? It might be a big volume, but it might be a scam. Betting name? Yeah. RSI. But no, it came back. That looked big at first. Reduced sales from Amazon. Yeah. Who else was it? Target had bad news too. But yeah, there's a lot of those names I've been eyeing. I still like them. Again, I just took NVO and that one went lower. Okta again. More cyber names going up. Then SPY right back up. MasterCard on the high and Citi. Again, financials were kind of holding. Then more airlines still. That one is not stopping. And then again, 3 more minutes. We're going to get the data here. So this one, you might move a little bit more. I'm still not too into it. But then again, it is Monday. And you have a lot of currency moves. AppLovin on the high. But you're expecting 50.3. Watch the employment and then watch the prices. Prices 61. Employment 47. Like I'm saying, a structural change, like if employment drops and other things. Now, granted, people do follow ISM manufacturing more than the services, but then services is the sticky part of the equation. The Buffett news. I mean, I think the Buffett news is a big deal. At least he didn't die. I know that may sound wild, but, it's a very good sign that he's transitioning before anything abrupt happens or all of that. People knew the time was close, but That's it. I'm sure down the line we'll hear more, but kind of reminds me when like Apple was taken over by Tim Cook. You know, it was kind of different than the leader, but then the market was kind of well adjusted to it. But yeah, I don't think people are panicking. Okay, you're running back up here. This is actually a decent front run ahead of the data. So keep that in mind. AL. Okay, I'll get you guys a checkup after this, but get ready. Okay, Meta's on the high too. Again, watch anything related to oil and those names. I think that's one sector doing its thing. Citi again. So more banks. I have Citi in the bottom right, but I'm seeing a couple of them. Visa now, MasterCard. You had Cyber early. Now Caterpillar. And JD, Okta again too. Wally World Pie. Everything just kind of got a bid. Yeah, Walmart just moved up about, what, $1? No, 50 cents? Still pretty big for Walmart. All right, so get ready. 1 minute. Ooh, from Puerto Rico. Enjoy it, baby. Enjoy it and good morning. Okay, so 50.3 services, watch employment and prices. RCL, cruise line. So again, low oil. Bro, a lot of these plays, a lot of random ass shit just took off. TSN, they had earnings. Snowflake, again, another cyber play. Zscaler as well. There's NVO. Vic on the high. All right. Get ready. About 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Burp. Oh. Bonds already just took it on the head. So 50.8. They came in higher. So services actually beat. Let me see. The other ones haven't loaded yet. I want prices paid, but bonds clapped, so it's probably good data. But it was a beat on the index. I'm looking for the other ones. Prices went higher, so that's not good. New orders shot up, and then employment went up. So, yeah, just everything's good except for prices. So a little bit of, but again, everybody was just worried about economic fall off. So, yeah, like if you're worried about recession, that one's not there. It's still in contraction, some of it, but generally the only bad part of that is prices. That's inflationary. Everything else was, yeah. Economy is solid, man. PPG, that just popped up $1. So a lot of things are moving right now. It's not really updating. Okay, more airlines going up. Citi again. But yeah, that data, market's taking it. I would say even bad news is good. It's still low. It's all low shit. But considering, you know, everybody was just worried about a recession and all of that, that's not there. But like I said, this might even be temporary. So watch, you'll get your first candles, but like if the bonds come back up and you do all that, but either way, this isn't the big thing of the week. The big thing of the week is Powell, Scott Bessent, and all that. But that just unleashed everything for now. Give it a couple minutes, and then we'll find out if it turns into like full melt. But yeah, now you're only down 0.5%, so half of today's loss is gone. About why Powell can't cut rates? Well, he just doesn't want to. I mean, he's already said he won't. We'll talk about it when we get closer to it, but I mean, most people, aren't expecting him to cut rates, maybe later, and it does make sense. I mean, nothing has changed when it's all said and done. There's just been a lot of emotions. Duolingo on the high. Crowd again. Who's the other one? Okta. Yeah, all those cyber plays run. My goodness. Crowd, Snowflake, Polyalti. All right, so see, though, two candles up, bonds down. Like I said, market likes it, but it may be short-lived. It just shouldn't be there. But employment did good. Prices went high. That wasn't good. But then services generally more active than people were expecting. Service now, that one was going. Ralph Lauren on the high. So wide mix. So let me get you guys a checkup. Let's see where we're at. It's a very interesting dynamic of what's up and not. VLO. So more energy. Treasury yields rise after ISM tops estimates. Okay, so Dow Jones, 10 names in the green, 20 in the red, 25 in the red. Oh, no, wait. I think that was Mexico. No, yeah. 12 names green on the Dow, 18 in the red. ISM prices highest since January 2023. So let's see if market starts talking about the inflation side of it. That's what I was saying wasn't good. Okay, NASDAQ 100, 44 green, 57 in the red. So NASDAQ's 50-50. That's why, I mean, you have Microsoft up, Apple down, all of that stuff. So, yeah, that's interesting. NASDAQ 50-50, and then S&P 500, 198 in the green, 300 in the red. So, yeah, you're just like barely tipped to the downside. But you have names up. TGTX, big flush, at least on the low ticker. Things already down 18%. I think they had bad FDA news. Scott W. IBM on the high. Again, Dell was running up earlier. Some of these tech names are barely green. Again, NVIDIA barely red. MRO. Oil again, too. It's weird. The oil names are moving, but it's already... Well, it was already mollywopped off the AM. Has Trump had a meeting with Powell since? I don't know, actually. I really don't know. I know Bessent has met with him. Apparently they get breakfast, but I don't know if they've, like, spoken privately. I don't think so. Cheeklay, like I said, we're coming right back down. It felt like a really big reaction for that data, but the bonds move more. And now let it balance out. UNH on the high. UNH $2 pop, just under that. Again, it's a big mover. NTRA, GTech. Again, it's still 50-50. NASDAQ down 0.6. Russell's now the worst on the day, but NASDAQ might lap that. Gold is coming up now. Gold. Gold is actually rocketing. Yo, eyes on that. That one's interesting. Let me double check if that's on futures. At least GLD is rocketing. Yeah, gold just broke out right now. So literally $10 move on gold in like 3 minutes. DraftKings on the high, a couple of other things. Boeing now, and then LU, Lufax Holding. And then Boeing up 1%, pop in. El Pollo Loco. I like the company. I used to love El Pollo Loco back in the day, but I haven't been there in a while. And so I haven't really considered it as a long-term place. Bitcoin was already down. Look at gold right now. So, again, we still have the holiday. You have the Taiwan dollar thing and all of that. But, I mean, literally gold just rocketed up here at the high out of nowhere. Yeah, dollar's still down. Very interesting. Twilio on the high, too. Didn't they have earnings last week? Okay, SPY getting bigger reds. Eyes peeled right now because you have gold waking up out of nowhere, and that's like the only thing moving. UFPT, Wolfpack short. Oh, that's the one, Mr. Mosby. He wanted the short report. GLD on the high, oil still going lower, but yeah, UFPT short report. And then SPY just right at the opening candle, even after that data. Apple on the lows. Apple might be down 3% now. It was down 2 something last time I checked. Yeah, Apple's down by 2.8. And then Microsoft, though, or was it Google? Google's the one that's green, but they're barely green. Netflix is still red. It wanted to come back up. There's Win on the high. And then PTCT, it's a biotech. They're down 20. Win again. It looks way bigger on the high ticker, unless it's just not loading. And then healthcare getting a candle too. And not bad, baby. Oh, Bill Ackman.
Us to talk about potential future offerings, so I have to defer on that one.
So what about for Pershing Square overall? What's the long-term plan? There has been an IPO floated around, but do you still see yourself getting there, and over what kind of timeline?
So the long-term plan for Pershing Square is to build, is one, to deliver great returns for our investors and our shareholders, and the shareholders of Howard Hughes. And of course, that benefits Pershing Square, the Pershing Square funds, because we have a major investment already.
Milken
in Howard
Institute.
Hughes.
This is where it's in LA. If you guys want to go,
making more valuable. So
but this is where we're going to hear
kind of our
Bessent later
focus.
today.
I do want to make Pershing Square an entity that survives. We manage permanent capital, so it's important that the a manager that oversees that permanent capital becomes a perpetuity. And while Buffett is 94 and still incredibly active, if I want to compete with that track record over time, it's important that we set up an entity that can survive for the very long term. So I don't know exactly what form that will take. We did sell a minority interest in Pershing Square to a group of investors last year, and we set up an independent board of directors, and we really run Pershing Square, the management company today, almost as if it's a public company from a governance and other perspective.
Now, I want to talk about your portfolio as well here, because with this new company, you had mentioned small and medium-sized businesses.
Okay, oil
course,
flushing more.
Again,
that's big. Watch airlines
through Pershing Square already. How are the tariffs impacting you today, and how do you think that impact will last 6 months, 12 months from now?
CEP getting clobbered too.
So, first, we try to own businesses where no matter what's going on in the world, what we call extrinsic factors we can't control, whether those are commodity prices or tariffs, excuse me, or a pandemic, interest rate volatility, don't have a material effect on the business. So we look for what we call durable growth companies, and these are the kind of businesses we're going to try to find for Howard Hughes.
IVF up 50.
Insulated from things.
That thing's
macro.
popping at the high. Probably had news.
Every business does better in a positive.
And then China plays.
Growth environment, does worse in a weakening growth environment. But
still red though.
Today,
again, it's still early. It's only been an hour, 10 minutes.
Have really
not
been
even an hour.
directly affected by tariffs, although market prices move up and down based on uncertainty.
Does that not bother you though?
No, it doesn't bother me. Look, the president has an objective here. Right, it's critically important for the United States, strategically and defensively, for us to, source certain key products in the United States, have them be manufactured here, whether those are pharmaceutical
Dollar Tree and Dollar General,
or stuff.
They're already up there a lot, but they're both moving right now.
AI, anything AI related, semiconductors, and so creating the incentive for those
and
important
Expedia,
high-value manufacturing and other activities happening here, I think is critically important. For 80 years, beginning after World War II, the United States, helped save the world, and then helped save the world economically, and allowed for trade barriers to be built up over time. That's allowed Asia, countries in Asia, Europe, to Marshall Plan, et cetera, to recover. And then over time, those tariff barriers have remained, even as those countries have become very aggressive competitors of the United States. Think the Japanese auto industry and how it, it's really dominated U.S. Auto industry over time. And it's time for those trade barriers to come down. And the president is using tariffs in a tactical way to address those trade barriers, which are not just tariffs, but there are other things that make it difficult for US
watch
goods.
Nike. He's going to say something about Nike.
Balance of trade.
I forgot.
We still have balance of trade issue. Buffett actually talks about this long term as a problem, and he wants to incentivize companies to do business in the United States. Now, the way he goes about things, as we've seen from the president, is a bit of I would call it shock and awe, which tends to scare people. But ultimately, he's a deal maker. He likes to make deals.
High ticker, more China names.
He I think did the right thing in pausing tariffs, reciprocal tariffs for 90 days, and I think that gives time to negotiate with our 18 largest countries.
Okay, high ticker still really running. Again, a lot of China stuff. No headlines.
take down the China tariffs, that will give U.S. businesses that are actually under pressure. There are a lot of businesses, unlike the ones we own, that a tariff of 145% on goods they source from China
MGA, Waymo partnership.
Particularly small businesses that don't have the wherewithal to manage through this period of time. So I think we want to be economically
and then PNC on the high
when we're negotiating.
Look.
The president, pausing tariffs for 180 days on China sets up a very interesting dynamic where, puts us really in the driver's seat. Give me 1 second. It's an important point.
Of course.
So right now, because of the announcement, every business that sources in China, every U.S. company, et cetera, is relocating their supply chains out of China. That's not going to change.
Yeah, Twilio, these
even if the
cyber
tariffs go
plays
from
or any like
145%
software
down to
is doing
10 or
very
down
good.
to 20%. So once we pause, China's under enormous pressure to make China a good place to do business, to eliminate these kind of trade barriers, and I think enabling a very successful negotiation.
So you were among the first to advocate for that 90-day pause.
Yes.
Did you talk to anybody in the Trump administration or the president himself? And are you in talks with him about this 180-day pause? I saw you post about that online as well. So you are getting more vocal about this idea. Can it happen?
I think it can certainly happen. I heard Scott Bessent was here yesterday. He seemed very constructive on where negotiations are headed. So we shall see.
But more specifically,
yeah, Tesla and Apple are the really, really weak ones. Where's Meta?
I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah, Meta actually came up, and then Meta, Google, Microsoft holding.
Conversations I have with people.
So you got literally 3 up, 3 down on the Mag 7.
There could be exemptions made. You mentioned small businesses. This is a part of the economy that is getting hard
stay
hit.
far,
You said it
baby.
yourself.
What up?
How is
Good
this
morning.
a Main Street strategy?
Hope you had a good
Small
weekend.
businesses are getting hit harder than the larger ones.
Sometimes you have to have some short-term pain to get a much better long-term outlook.
I appreciate you, man. I hope you got a long-term. That's all we need in life.
Clear. And I do think it's important to kind of
and CRL again
pause the
too.
China tariffs. That will take the pressure immediately off of kind of the smaller businesses, and it's not just affecting small business. No, by the way, there are some positive effects from the China tariffs, which a number of U.S. manufacturers, many
the small ones
are
go
doing
get
very
big
well because of course people are looking to source
little by
product in this
little,
country.
every day,
If you said
baby.
something's made in China before,
Every day.
and there's someone you can source from in America, you're banging down the door to do business with them here. So there is a big boost to a meaningful number of small, medium-sized, and large businesses that manufacture in the U.S.
More pizza.
But there is a negative effect on companies that don't have
I wish
that
I got more
flexibility
MVO.
or the nimbleness to move their supply
Ackman says
chains,
next step on
quickly.
tariffs should be a 180.
That's what I'd like to see.
That's what you. So yeah, the
Do you
180
think
wasn't
that
legit.
this can be
They're
done
like, it's not news.
while
He's
avoiding a
advocating for it.
recession? Do you think that a recession is a foregone conclusion at this point?
I don't. I think I don't think a recession is a foregone conclusion.
Okay,
And I
Tesla
think there are real reasons
flushing.
for optimism.
Couple
I
of
just don't
names.
want
Staples
this
breaking
turbulent
out.
period
Crypto
to
flushing
carry
as
on
well.
too long. I'd like to
MSTR.
see deals get
SPY not
announced,
really moving again.
and progress
Apple
made,
hasn't flushed.
and then I think people can start looking beyond.
No, I've seen Roku on the high all day. It's
Days.
still red.
You mentioned
Spotify's
that
up. They got
even after that
downgraded
60,
earlier.
90, 180 days, that tariffs will still be higher, right?
I don't know what the ultimate outcome is, and it's not just tariffs. You got to look at the overall effect of the various trade barriers coming down, right? There are countries with low tariffs but still have enormous barriers to U.S. goods in their market, and so it could absolutely be a lot of reasons for optimism about the economy. So, one. The tax bill. Yesterday, the Treasury Secretary said it could be signed on July 4th. That's a very pro-growth initiative. The deregulation process could be very pro-growth for the country.
Okay, more China. China's just gradually going up there, but
energy
nothing's
prices,
big
gas
enough to
prices,
mean anything.
Egg prices, right? That's a
Everything's just kind of like cash open, running back to where it gapped down from.
Economy,
but it's
and
not
for the
like nothing's
consumer.
telling right now.
I think the only thing that we suffer from right now of substance economically is the inherent uncertainty about the tariff
Avis up
situation.
too?
I think the sooner that's resolved, the more the economy can move forward. And
what
there's
about Hertz?
also reasons for optimism.
Doesn't Bill
kind of
Ackman own
geopolitically.
20% now?
I think it's likely
I'm surprised no one brought that up while he's talking.
I think the Ukraine-Russia war can get resolved this calendar year. And
okay, more
sooner
K-Web.
I think the Middle East.
Yeah, the VIX is green. We did have a 1%, 3/4 of a gap down today.
By negotiation or otherwise, the Iranian situation. So I'm an optimist, and I've always been an optimist about our country.
So before I let you go, also, I want to have you weigh in on what's happening between Harvard and the Trump administration as well, because this morning you had called for the resignation of Penny Pritzker from Harvard's board.
Yes.
Now, have you talked to her personally or any of the other board members?
So I spoke to her, very early on in the midst of the events on campus after October 7th. I've only spoken to her once. And by the way, I don't know her well. I'm sure she's a lovely person. But at some point you have to have accountability for what's gone on at Harvard. And I've not seen any accountability at the governance level. The notion that she's still chairing the Harvard board and leading the charge here, I think is a big negative. And I think they've mismanaged.
Bank of America, most of the banks are green now. Airbnb, you already had Expedia coming up too.
And,
so all the travel plays, again, I don't know if that's an oil
you need
connection.
A new face at the top of just even to make a deal, right?
Trump tweeted
again,
a meme. The Trump coin?
Harvard's the oldest corporation in America. Go to any other corporation. If they managed the last 18 months the way that they managed, there would be a new chair and there would be a new CEO in place. The new CEO is there, but he's more interim. But they've done nothing in terms of accountability at the board level.
Has the ship sailed for Harvard in terms of a potential negotiation with the administration?
No, and I would love to be helpful there. I care enormously about the institution. I want Harvard to succeed. I think the president has a number of very key issues that are critical.
Okay,
it's not just the issue
Pinduoduo,
of
Amazon.
Anti-Semitism and pro-Hamas.
Couple more names are moving. High ticker, low ticker's drying up. High
High
ticker's still going. No real headline again, except ISM. We danced around a little bit.
If taxpayers are funding a private institution like Harvard, particularly one that has a massive endowment, the university is a fiduciary for those funds, and if they're wasting money on overhead and bureaucracy that really is interfering or certainly not enhancing education, they should do something about it. Education is about being exposed to diverse views, and if university, as I've said, becomes a political advocacy organization, query whether it should be getting taxpayer support.
Bill, we thank you so much for joining us here on set. That is Bill Ackman, who of course is the CEO of
That was nice. I wanted to hear that. I'm surprised we didn't hear anything about Hertz. Again, he's advocating for a 180-day tariff now, so not too bad. And then again, China plays. K-Web is about to go green. I think JD's there. Baba is now in the green by 1% almost. But yeah, those are starting to move. We haven't heard anything. So again, no today, Monday, almost an hour in, no rumors, no nothing. Everyone's at that conference though. That's where you're going to hear Bessent. That is the Milken Institute. The annual DoorDash. Twilio again. Twilio, Okta, any of these like cyber or software plays have been going. So I said that a few times. And then oil. Travel plays are up like 1 to 2. Yeah, Yin, K-Web, Baba, JD, Pinduoduo, they're all moving right now. And then we're only down 0.5%. You were down almost 1% at one point. Dow Jones is the closest to going green. Yeah, Apple is really bad. If Apple bounces, though, then that could change a lot how today looks. Or if any of these other ones lose steam and then Apple goes down, then, yeah, it's a different one. TM, that one's down like 6 or 7. Is gold doing it still? Gold came back down. Whatever that was interesting, but at least it chilled. And then, again, bonds are still holding the first level from Young ISM. Any earnings? I like NVO this week. There's going to be a couple of others, but I just don't think this was a good earnings season. Not for the companies. I just think I thought it would have been easier because we moved a lot, but over the last like 20 years, it was a harder to get earnings responses that were equivalent. So I'm not too crazy about the earnings this quarter, but I will be watching NVO. I think that one will be an interesting one, and then there'll be a few others. Again, you'll find little companies that are important, but I don't think now we've 60, 70% have already reported. Trump gala dinner 522. Is that for the coin? TTD. Roku was on the high. High ticker's still going. Again, it's like 50-50. Last time we checked, we'll check in a little bit. I checked like 20 minutes ago. So we'll see if Google and Meta get broken up. I think Google and Meta. So you guys know they made Microsoft break up in 2000 or something. It was like 99 or 02, somewhere back in the day. But they made Microsoft break up, and then, like, ironically, it ended up making Microsoft more money. It made Microsoft more valuable. So if they did try to do that, I don't know. And then, China names are going. So TSM now flushing, and then a couple of China names running. Very interesting. So TSM down 1-3. They ran a little bit in the morning, but they didn't catch one. Again, the Taiwan dollar, that one is important. And then O's on the high, but you also have some China names going up. Meanwhile, SPY's just doing this dance. I think this SPY is just getting affected by Apple and Tesla, and then NVIDIA. I think NVIDIA is your, like, one that's, like, holding. Because if NVIDIA goes green, that could outweigh Apple, and NVIDIA goes red, that'll add to the Apple. Clavio, a log short report, another one. So there's 2 short reports today. Good luck with that. FedEx on the high, yeah, even though it's red. Toll Brothers, home builders. Interesting. Trump tweeting, like Twitter or Truth Social? Well, eyes up, though. See again if China responds. Because remember, that was the big deal on Friday. We were waiting the China stuff. Tesla again on the low and TSM. And then just SPY still above open, but holding the gap down. We ain't moving at all. So 56.50. 30 points from your gap. Good morning. It is. It's still very early. We've been here for just under an hour. My goodness. MQ on the high. Yeah, oil's still rocket. That's bad. Bitcoin going down lower too. Yeah, bro. Oil's at $56. It's actually kind of crazy. It was lower in the pre-market, like early in the AM, but yeah. Blech. So then the lowest we've been this cycle is $55. Fascinating. There's Tesla now. U.S. Steel on the low. I'd watch NVIDIA. I think NVIDIA might be your answer. If NVIDIA drops, then like really drops, I think that'll add pressure with the Apple and everything else. Otherwise, if a Meta or somebody else could do good, then that could outweigh it. But you're just like right at the cusp there. Again, there's like half the names up, half the names green. The dollar leads oil or vice versa. Not right now. I mean, sometimes you could have that correlation, but I think right now oil is being driven by policy. Policy, trade, again, OPEC. That's part of, what policies they're pursuing as well. But and then the dollar has way too much going on right now. So other times you could kind of have that correlation, but I wouldn't, like right now you are in a historically probably one of the most volatile times you've ever witnessed. So I think there's too much to make that connection. Sitting on Hans. I only made one play today, but this is something I was saying in the morning that we got to kind of see what this week is going to bring. We don't know if are the moves going to be front loaded to the front of the week, the back of the week, this stop and go we've seen a lot. Okay, JD now. More China plays are moving. Eli Lilly's going a little higher. And then Blackstone, CEP on the low. Tesla's still on the low. So again, look at the high-low ticker. It's still, you have more names advancing right now. And again, some names are bigger, but you still, even then, CEP is dominating it. But you still have a lot of names that are going lower. IQV. Okay, Tesla at the low, NVIDIA too, and Apple. So, yeah, I don't like those. TLT got crushed off of the data. Again, lately, ever since we stopped freaking out, good data has been hurting the bonds. And we talked about this on the watch list yesterday, even the jobs report. Why? Because good data and, reiterating that hard data and that things haven't slipped, that just gives Powell more room to not move rates. So that's why anytime we're getting good data now, Now that we're not freaking out about the market, the good data is starting to, people get bearish because that means now Powell has a lot more room to be patient. Oh, Mr. Honlander. What up, baby? Good morning and happy weekend. Weekend back. Now you're back. Woo. Yeah, Fed is tomorrow. Fed is tomorrow on Wednesday. Really, it's on Wednesday. Technically, the meeting starts tomorrow, but yeah. Scheinbach, Trump wanted to help Mexico with troops. I said no. So we're getting Scheinbach comments. Remember, you have Canada and Trump tomorrow. And Trump did say he wanted trade deals this week. But then again, a little bit of cold water on the China stuff. But yeah, Scheinbach just made a comment. Scheinbaum. Tesla's still flushing. Nvidia stopped going lower. But then Apple's now going lower. So see. MRK, no, they're down. What's weird, healthcare is going up, and then Apple again, though. ISM service edges higher despite tariffs. And Cigna. Yeah, man, Apple and NVIDIA, but NVIDIA bounced, but Apple and Tesla are like literally driving into the lows. Mexico Scheinbach says good communication with Trump. We've reached deals. What? Scheinbach saying we've reached deals. I think this is coming straight from her, but market is going down first. GPUS? What's this? Hyperscale data? Yeah, nothing's moving on the currency side. Nike's going up. Yeah, watch out for that. I'm going to take one. I'm going to take a super cheap one. She just said they've reached some deal, but I think the markets on Monday don't do anything. I have a cheap one. I have a good one to look at. India offers 0 for 0 tariffs on auto parts and steel. You're getting an India one now too, bro. Very fascinating. So yeah, you just got a good Mexico comment and India, but we haven't moved. So I put out a sweet spot to look for pretty much. There's a little cheap one you could watch there in terms of plays because I think the market wants to like do its little Monday mode and not do much. But, I mean, you're getting good back-to-back headlines here related to trade in these deals. But, again, the market's not really responding to it for now. Apple, again, whatever GPUS was. And then Apple and Tesla, both on the low still. So Apple down 3, Tesla down 4, and then NVIDIA. Well, I think it might be because China still. So you could kind of even argue the reaction is that China's the only one that matters. So, yeah, Mexico, we've kind of already faded Mexico for a while. We've been waiting in an India deal for weeks, and we know India, Japan, Korea, but China that's the big one. So maybe that's it. Otherwise, could just be the start of the week here. But we'll see. That's why I said keep it small, lower exposure. You don't have to go big, but that was only my second one. I'm going to go off the headline for now, but keep it very, very small. GME on the high or on the low, excuse me. GM. Well, most of the didn't they get like a 2-year extension too? So maybe that's what it could be referred to as. And then JD, China plays, but no news. Some China plays are moving a little bit more than others. Mexico trade deal, the autos, even oil, or you could just go for the index. But again, I don't think it's weird. The premiums aren't really moving, but market, again, we just got 2 good headlines, but literal zero reaction for now. Yeah, China plays are going up. Tesla, Apple into the low. That's kind of been the dynamic. Tesla's really drilling, and then watch NVIDIA because that comes down. Then that'll just add to it. I think that's going to be the straw that breaks the markets back. Zcar, Myrna. Again, healthcare was going up earlier. Netanyahu, we decided on an intense operation in Gaza. Tesla, again, and Apple, so watch out. Again, the high ticker has a bunch of names moving up, whatever Kingsoft Cloud is, but then, yeah, literally Tesla, Apple, NVIDIA are just getting worked right now. So, yeah, very interesting. Feels like earnings, even though we have less earnings. Yeah, bonds too. They also want to break. I haven't looked back at gold or anything else. And then oil. A lot of things are even staying pinned right there too. Bitcoin stopped moving. Gold staying pinned. There are earnings, yeah. I think about 8% of the S&P reports. It's still a decent amount, but now you have gone through most of the high-profile mega cap earnings. Okay, you're going down here. Certain premiums have not moved yet. Ironically enough, individual names are moving, but I'm talking about the SPY. Again, Apple, watch. If Google and Microsoft go red, then you're going to really have a problem. Because, again, Microsoft is already red by 0.1%. I think you'll have Meta as well, too. Yeti, the coolers. They're running. A little bit of volume, up 0.5%. Wow, things are dumping. Yeah, Yeti's staying pinned down there. That's interesting. It hasn't hit the threshold, but that's moving. Check Yeti. FTAI again. Yeti's up now 1%. Valero, bro. I think that's the only energy name up. And then the Baba. Yalla ya Baba. Oxy CEO comments about Trump. Okay, SPY still just dancing around VWAP. We had a couple of headlines, but market feels like it's its own little mode, its own little world. Allstate and insurance companies going up. Again, even though Berkshire did slightly miss, Yeti is attractive takeover candidate, says Jeffries. So it's not an offer, but they're putting that on a list. So keep watch on that. It's moved 1%. Froggers. I'm looking at this SPY. Now the premiums went down, but we're not moving enough unless you have like an individual name. But for now, I mean, 1% gap. I swear, I don't even think you've moved more than 0.3, 0.4 today intraday. And again, that's even after a back-to-back India-Mexico headline. Occidental CEO, I believe Trump will remove obstacles for U.S. oil and gas. Okay, SPY still just dancing around. Premiums are just holding. Like I said, once Apple, NVIDIA, Tesla chill, that could move things. Otherwise, if everything dies before then you're going to go lower. But it's kind of crazy. You've moved 0.3, bro, intraday. It's not, we have not gone anywhere for this last hour and 7 minutes. Let's see the volume. Remember, volume wasn't too hot. 9.5 million. This is very average. So, yeah, welcome to Monday, baby. There you go. Again, a little bit of a move now. Premiums are lagging on that, so you might be able to frog now if you really insist. Yeah, premiums are going lower on that pop. So be careful, but if it does break out, if we do start reacting, I mean, the calls might actually frog. ARRY. And then high ticker, short-term velocity going up now. A couple names, Meta, PayPal. Index is starting now. Again, your headlines were like 10 minutes ago. So, yeah, now premiums just jumped. All of them. The out the monies, they're lagging them, though. So you got to be careful of that. But, yeah, you're getting things moving now. City. Yeah, GTA 6. On Friday, the stock dropped 9% on the delay. I can't believe it. All right, SPY working. All right, starting to go right there. Like I'm saying, they gave it a lot. Now it's getting fucking huge comparative to the day. So watch out. This could like fade at any minute, but that's your biggest 3 candles of the day so far. Even like ahead of the data. No headline, but the headlines were like 10 minutes prior. Take-Two is connected to Grand Theft Auto. The maker. Frog, you can if you wanted to. Like I was saying, as we were talking about it, it kind of did it. Yeah, they went up 30 cents. So it was like 20-30%, but like you could have bought it at the high. I was saying we were up, but the plays were just lagging. So now it's kind of matched up, but it is still a little cheaper. You just need to know we're going to break out. But I'm not taking a play on that. I like Apple, though, but Apple's ugly. And then Yeti's still going again. Opinion article on the takeover. Just an opinion, no offer, but that one's still moving. SPY up again. India and Mexico news, and then we didn't do anything. And then now you just had those 3 candles out of nowhere. I think just Apple and all those just stopped dying. That might be it. Calls are starting to go up. PayPal's still going up there as well, too, man. India news getting pumped around now. That's hilarious. Bro, it's kind of a trip. That's what I'm saying, bro. We had that news and nothing happened. So I don't know. Maybe people are starting to pump in now. Wow. Let's see. Where are those shitty SPY plays? The cheap ones. They lagged them. They're lagging the out of the monies. But the near the monies went up 30% on that little frog that we were talking. We didn't know it was a fraud. We were talking about it in real time, and then it did it. Not bad. So it might be the India thing, but you're kind of even seeing how the market had that info and then delayed it. That was a very, very delayed reaction, so keep that in mind. INDA's not moved. Okay, SPY. Dow just went green. Russell is a quarter away. SPY's about 0.5%. The biggest move all day. Compared, like right here was also big, but even now, this is making it where you've moved almost 0.5% now intraday. Like I was saying, the gap down was 1% almost, but everything else was very, very minor. So yeah, okay, it's already kind of stopping. Whoop. But yeah, out of the monies didn't work on that. You need a more aggressive move. Yeah, Win was going up earlier and staying up. I thought that was very interesting. Win's up 2.5. And then MasterCard, Citi, all these other like little finance plays, anything that was moving earlier, Airbnb, Expedia, airlines, they're all up still. So again, I just think today is very distorted because of big tech. You know, big tech is the stuff that's not moving. Actually, let's take a look at the equal weight. That might give us some answers. So yeah, SPY's down 0.4. Equal weight is up by 0.6. So yeah, this is definitely Apple, Amazon, or Apple, Nvidia, Tesla effect today. Because literally, equal weight's already in the green. And then Dow's already barely up. SPY's still dancing around here. I don't know what happened with Tesla. It could be all the like cyber or like, not cyber, what is it? Like self-driving Waymo stuff. I feel like I've heard a lot about that recently. SMG on the high. Miracle Grow. Equal weight is if you took the SPY and then weighted it equally. So right now, like the SPY is based, you know, depending on the size and the weighting of the company. If it's bigger, it has more of an impact on the index. So that's why like Nvidia, Apple, they make up a bigger percentage of the S&P than most companies. But then if you weighted them equal, so like one is one, you know, one green, one red, one green, one red, and they all have the same weighting, right now the SPY would be green. So that means you have more names advancing, more names up. Reddit starting to get some candles here at the high, yeah. So you have more names advancing rather than going lower. But if you looked at the normal weighting, given that the names that are going down are much larger, it brings the index down. Well, again, there was 2 pieces of news. Everybody just acted like news didn't come out. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's Monday, the holiday, Wall Street Journal got in trouble for lying. I don't know. But there's Scheinbach comments and India comments. And then in India was even Bloomberg. And then, yeah, we like lagged and then it just took off. Terrell, welcome, baby. 49 months of consistency. Tell him, Miguel, let's go, baby. We need another 49 months. God willing. Okay, SPY plays are working now a little bit. And then remember, China plays were already on fire. So that's good. Yeah, if NVIDIA goes, that's it. NVIDIA, Tesla stopped dying. That's why I think you're running. But look, NVIDIA's coming up. And then you need Apple, too. But everything else, Yeti, again, there was an opinion on a takeover. That's why it's up. Not an actual takeover, but an opinion. Still decent. That's already going up. TW, everything. Look at the high ticker. High ticker is almost fully gassed. It's just very small. So, like, anytime you've seen the market look like this, you'd think you'd be moving a lot, but you're just moving like 1/10 or 1/4%. But still, it's good. We had some headlines here. I don't know if you could attribute this move to it, but generally, everything is, you have more names doing good today. It's just that Apple, big tech waiting now. And now Microsoft, any of those other big names go, that'll help. Travel, hotel, leisure, those are all as well running too. And then airlines benefiting off low oil. Even NCLH, RCL, those are both coming into the highs right now as well. OSK. KL, all right, still a little red there, just as the SPY plays start to move. Noop, post your plays or you're getting banned. You're posted, but you're not saying what you're buying. You're just posting a lot of shit. So please do that. Otherwise, shh. Thank you. See, it's distracting. I'm like, wait, you guys had good, because I only saw what's his name post it. Nah, you didn't. You posted a strike. You're not saying if you're buying them or not. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just telling you what's missing. But I saw Patrick's and a few others that were good, and you guys called them out perfectly with good timing. That's what I'm saying. So good if you did post them. If not, please make sure you do that. That's the last warning. I did check. Okay, bye, Noop. I said it's not an argument. I just checked your chat facts, dude. Thanks. Good morning. Happy Monday. I like the Nikes too. I'm surprised. Every big Bill Ackman play, he didn't really hint at it. So again, remember Nike and Hertz. But Skechers, they got they're going private at 63. They popped off of it. All right, you're still holding up. I think as long as the big tech, you just need one or two big techs, NVIDIA, Apple, or Tesla. They just got to stop dying, and then that's it. Then we'll be good until we get like the real set of headlines. Otherwise, it has been surprisingly quiet. Surprisingly quiet this morning. 140? I think you would, yeah. You'd have to just wait till the closing, and then if the deal fell through or anything else, that would be your risk. But yeah. But then what's the return on that? So $1.40 on every $60. Just make sure that pays more than a bond. Because think about it, you make $1.40 divided by what? 61. Okay, SPY going up though. There's names on the high ticker. Yeah, that's 2%. You're better off buying a bond. Isn't that crazy? So that's what I've been saying with a lot of shit in the market nowadays is that you really have to run the fucking numbers. Because even that deal, I hope you guys see that. That's 2%. So why would you take the risk for 2%? You know, when you could go buy a 30-day bond right now and get a quarter. Or you buy anything for a year, you're making 4%. Yeah, I think your MO dividend pays you more in a quarter. SPY just is holding. Lemonade on the high. Am I really not down with Trump anymore? No, I am. I'm surprised most people didn't know how to interpret that video, but I just didn't bother trying to explain it. That's like I said, I was being a little bit dramatic about things, but if you really listen to that video, I think I say something about it. But yeah, some people got it, some people didn't. I just don't. I'm not wasting my time trying to explain it. TGT. I like it. Good mood. Yeah, I mean, good weekend. Chill. I got sleep, rest. I don't know. I feel very non-tired. It's weird. Even I said it too, I don't know how to explain it. I did some stretch, bro, but I feel I don't know. I feel like I could run today. I don't feel tight in any degree, so I like it. I like it. Big fan. Woo! Yeah. I was exactly. I was talking about all of it last week, so that's what I was saying. It's something I don't really agree with, but that might lead to the golden era. So we'll see. I really look forward to whatever happens because I think we're gonna get some info, and then we're gonna see a lot of other things, and then then we'll really be able to determine, because there will be some inflationary effects, and then we'll see where the money ends up. But I think, like I said, by day 365 and then even the next 4 years, there is going to be a very, very interesting routine or opportunity with money and everything. So I'm very excited. Yeah, there's been things. It's already paid out this year. I mean, just following some of the broad plan, we've already been able to take advantage of a lot. So, God willing, whatever happens. So, either way. I think Apple, somebody brought that up earlier, and I think that's a good take. I think Apple might just be struggling a little bit because of Buffett. Yeah, because people were already, they don't know what he was going to do with the position and all that. So, EU sounds alarm over bird flu. Oh, the 44 days. I think it already started, but I will tell you right now, some of you, that 44 days is going to fuck you up. I could already tell, just because some people are very emotional about this whole rally thing and the bear market rally and all of that. So remember, 44 days is an average, right? So that means that we either could go before that and it could go longer than 44 days, or it could last for 20 days. And we don't know. And then again, if Powell changes something, if there's a huge deal right before, that changes everything as well. KDP, decent. KDP, Keurig, Dr. Pepper. KDP, IBM too, and Checkpoint, and the SPY. All right, we'll see. I don't know. I feel like Keurig already got bought out before, but Staples. Everything, it does sink in, and most of you get it. Everything going on, you guys that's why I'm definitely trying to push some of y'all to like really get it. But I promise you now, most of the Chads who've been like locked in, you guys understand everything. You're just impatient. I promise you. That's it. That is the thing that's happening right now. Most people get it. It's just the timing of it, and that's what's really fucking people up. You see what I'm saying? I think you guys get what the risks are. You know what's kind of moving on, but it's just the speed. At first it's slow, and then it's fast, and then you're like, then you want to wait. It's just timing. That's it. And then the patience of it. So definitely give yourself that time, and I think you'll vibe with it. That's why I'm saying only certainty is going to hurt you, because you know what's happening. Most people do. It's just the timing is very, very difficult, and then it's not easy to wait with and there's a lot of noise and a lot of movement, and that makes the timing even harder. So play accordingly. Mara. That's good, man. Well, I hope you get a long term, though. That's it. From now, I don't, this goes for everybody. I love y'all, and I appreciate it. I really, really do. But I will tell you now, all the thank yous and the words without a long term is very void. You have to get a long term. Everybody. You have to save your money. Because I'm telling you, anybody who's done it, we've done some awesome things, and lives have changed. So if you really like this info and the time spent here, you have to let it show. Otherwise, thank you, but I want a real thank you through showing it. And make sure you all get a long term and save 10% of every dollar that you touch. You will not regret it. It might even confuse you. It confused the shit out of my liberal sister, so you would be surprised, but I think it's a generally good thing. Trump to meet freed Russian ballerina? Or Cameron Henderson? We could buy app. No, we have a lot though. Collectively, there's a lot of chats. And, eventually, I think the bigger we grow in a couple of years, we'll be able to represent a big portion of some places. But for now, we're still growing. But, yeah, the chat influence is good. But we still got to build more. And that's why y'all get a long-term save. And like I'm saying, some of you who have already done it faithfully, your next step is parlaying that into bigger, safer things. But before again, grow your net worth and make it happen in a right way and quickly and safely. And I'm excited. I'm excited. You should be too. I found a lot. I was looking at a lot of houses this weekend. That's it. By staying home, because I was going to go see a property, because I didn't go with my girlfriend. I said, fuck that. I'm staying home. And then, but yeah, dude, there's some good properties out there. But I'm seeing crazy deals, bro. I saw a house yesterday. I sent it to Lending Tips. We'll see what happens. But, dude, I found a house yesterday. This homeboy listed it on Zillow. I was like, it wasn't even off market, bro. And it was listed at the same price from 15 years ago. I was like, homeboy, it needed work, but I was like, no fucking way. So, and then I started looking around, but like, dude, I think I found three houses on Zillow that were deals, and they were listed. And I was like, no fucking way, man. They were all over America. One was in Cali. Actually, two of them were in Cali. The other one was in Texas. And then, yeah, I think I saw another one. I thought it was a good deal in Montana, but it wasn't. You do a long term, but you trade, yeah. So, I don't know, man. So I'm saying, I mean this with love, and I mean this out of full respect. And I don't mean this as if I don't appreciate, but just like, come on. I don't, what are you thanking me for if you haven't separated the accounts? You know what I'm saying? There's nothing to thank me about if we're still doing, step one processes. So you guys got to bring it to life. Otherwise, it's just kind of, we're just hanging out at that point. And I'm not trying to hang out like that. I want a long term. Everybody. And you stick to the rules. Because like I'm saying, everybody who's done it now, I could pull out 1,000 accounts at least 30K a pop, dude. That's a lot. People now getting houses, at least 100 homeowners minimum out of those 1,000. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you keep going through that. So at the end of the day, the best thing, you will thank me for that. You could have 2 accounts with Schwab. Yeah, it's super easy. 100%. That's what I'm saying. It's not even not feasible. Super easy. Treasury Bessent says U.S. will solidify positions as home of global capital. Lauds U.S. resilience, says U.S. markets are anti-fragile. Qualcomm popper 20 cents. And bonds catching a bid off of Bessent right now. Okay, so I think Bessent comments, he has to be live right now. Trump tax to restore 100% expensing for equipment, expand full expensing of factory construction. No way. So anybody who builds a factory could write it off 100%? What? I think that's how I'm reading it, but I could be wrong. Yeah, Bessent's talking right now. And then Trump says they will pay migrants $1,000 to go home. I have an idea. Why don't we pay them? I'll pay you. Do you have a PayPal? I'll Venmo you, you leave. How about that? Let's make a deal. It's a good deal. I don't think I could put you in jail or give you $1,000. Illegal, illegal, it's up to you. You want 1,000? All cash. Cash deal. Cash for citizenship. That's what we're doing. Some people do cash for keys. We do cash for citizenship. I give you 1,000. You leave. You evict yourself. How about it? Good. I Venmo you, you vamonos. There you go. Just like that. We got a deal. What the fuck?
and welcome to the 28th Annual Milken Institute Global Conference. The 1,000 speakers and 200 sessions that are about to begin reflect a year's worth of work.
Hurry up.
Milken Institute employees around
This
the
is
globe.
Bessent, I think, is about to come on.
Each of you for
I already
joining
have
us,
2
not
comments,
just
so
with
there
your
might be
presence,
pre-written
but
statements.
with your ideas, your influence, and your energy. Our work at the Milken Institute lies at the intersection.
Yeah, I'm
of
surprised no
finance,
one's talking about that
medical
tax
innovation,
thing.
and
That's
human
crazy,
capital.
though. If you could fully expense the
of creating
factories,
actionable strategies
that means
to the
anybody who
challenges of
builds
our
these
time.
factories to get around tariffs,
there's no
if you
shortage
could
of those
write off
challenges,
100%,
And
that's
in many
insane.
cases, we actually have the resources and
I'll build a
technology to
factory for
address
crying
these
out loud.
issues.
What the fuck?
What's often missing is finding a common will to do so. How else to explain?
Yeah,
that in
I
a world
build
that
now.
is
Let's go,
producing
yalla.
$100 trillion in wealth, 1 in 11 people on the planet live on under $2 a day? Or that tuberculosis, a totally preventable and curable disease, killed 1.3 million people last year? Or that nearly 2 billion people still live
G-Pus
without
on the
energy,
high.
which in today's world means
Hyperscale.
no access
Damn,
to
it's up
basic
360.
education, telemedicine, or
Again,
economic
Bond's got a
opportunity.
bid, too, after the first comments there with
These aren't
taxes
just
and
numbers.
Bessent.
These are actual lives, and a sobering reminder that the distance between what we can do and what we are doing is still far too wide.
Again,
We need
G-Pus,
to
again,
close
I
this
like
gap.
those comments, bro.
But how?
So Bessent, not as
know
much.
that
He's saying
innovation and
solidify global
opportunity must
capital,
go hand in hand.
anti-fragile. That's all we have still, but
Biotech,
that Trump
AI,
expensing
and
thing is
fintech
huge.
Are moving at an exponential pace.
Let's see, though. I think I might be
If those
misinterpreting it
breakthroughs
because it sounds
benefit
way
only
better
the
than
few, then we're
I'm
failing.
expecting.
Technology should not be a luxury, it should be a lever, expanding access to healthcare, to capital, and to opportunity in every corner of the world. And at the core of that effort is something we value deeply at the Institute: diversity, in perspective, in people, in problem solving. The future will not be built by living within our own echo chambers. It will be built by bold, inclusive coalitions that reflect the world we're trying to realize.
Sounds like an echo chamber.
And we have many past successes to lead the way. We see time and again.
No, he's not live yet. This is the only feed that I had. This is where he's supposed to be at. And it had him up. He was supposed to be coming on, but he hasn't. So we'll see. But I got one comment, and that's, again, we're going to hear Bessent a lot this week. You have him at the Milken Institute, and then the next 2 days, you're going to have the Senate hearings. They're going to start grilling him. Tax legislation will prevent Main Street tax hike by making small business deductions permanent. See, this is what we were talking. Remember, we talked about this like a week or two ago, and we were saying how this tax stuff and deregulation, that's going to be the next bull driver. So I think they're trying to hammer it home, but no one's giving them love on it. But some of these are pretty ambitious plans, for crying out loud. So we'll see. ServiceNow's agentic AI push attracts U.S. enterprises. Sent in Ohio House. Nice. I'll check after the bell. So, but I appreciate you. Thank you for thinking about me. TLT moved on the first Bessent comment. That's it. Then we're still up from the India-Mexico stuff, but it's slow. So you had a little bit of a Frogger, but now they're all just chilling out. And then Apple's still not up and now down. So now you have SPY getting its first candle with bonds going up, though. So at least this is going to look, maybe we'll start fucking moving, though. Because now you're getting SPY down, bonds up. Bessent any moment now. Erdogan expressed support for Trump's approach to ending wars. Bessent's not up yet. I don't know what it was. You had somebody hit your car with their door? How do I go about this? What do you mean? It's like, do you want to sue them for door dinging you? I mean, I can't. I just drive away, bro. I usually, there's not. You just could look at them weird. That's about it. But I wouldn't. Because it would probably raise your insurance. Yeah, but there's not really anything you could do for a door ding. I mean, you can, but yeah, it's not really, yeah. Okay, bonds again and SPY. Watch, maybe we just start moving again all day. It's kind of just been on like chill mode. U.S. rejects Japan full exemption from tariffs. U.S. would consider lowering 14% specific rate. So bad news on Japan deal. Yeah, that's what it is. So that's your headline. Now throw that into the mix, but for everybody saying we were going to get the Japan deal, I mean, literally, yeah, that's not good. Oh, here's Bessent.
Ultimately, but he proved them wrong in his first term, and he is proving them wrong again today. On President Trump,
why is he wearing the Britney Spears mic?
He vowed to usher in.
You drive me crazy. You know what I'm talking about? He wearing the Britney Spears mic.
America deserves a golden age.
Let's go.
America
Get
deserves
TLT up.
a golden age economy. So for the past 100 days, we've been preparing the soil. We have uprooted government waste and harmful regulations.
He said, hit me tariffs one more time.
And we have fertilized the ground.
Our loneliness is killing me. And I must confess, I still believe. When it's not tariffed, I lose my mind. Give me a sign. Tariff, baby. No? Okay, I'm so sorry.
For these reasons, the United States is the premier destination for international capital, and the administration's goal is to make it even more appealing for investors like you. This morning, I will explain how we plan to achieve that goal. The primary components of the Trump economic agenda, trade, tax cuts, and deregulation, are not standalone policies. They are interlocking parts of an engine designed to drive long-term investment in the American
Yeah, he's
economy.
trying to give his BBB plan,
Our
the
goal with trade
bonds,
policy is to
oil,
level
and
the
all that,
playing
whatever,
field
the
for
threes,
great
the
American
deficit.
workers
That's what
and
he's explaining.
companies. With a level playing field, American industry can outcompete all challengers. Tariffs are engineered to encourage companies like yours to invest directly in the United States. Hire your workers here. Build your factories here. Make your products here. You'll be glad you did, not only because we have the most productive workforce in the world, but because we will soon have the most favorable tax and regulatory environment as well. This is where tax incentives and deregulation come into play. You may have heard one big, beautiful bill floating around Congress. This bill is big and beautiful for Main Street America and investors alike. The President's signature tax legislation will prevent an enormous tax hike on Main Street by making the small business deduction permanent. It will also provide tax credits and deductions
we already got that one.
research and innovation to stimulate investment in high-tech operations. It will restore 100% expensing for equipment while expanding that incentive to new factory construction. The objective, to accelerate investment in American industry. To make that investment as seamless and rewarding as possible, President Trump has embraced
See, but this is what I was telling y'all yesterday. This is all part of the spending bill. Because this is bullish as hell. You guys, that means anybody dropping 200 mil, a bill, whatever, that's all a tax write-off now, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? That's the most bullish shit ever. But do you see what I'm saying? You pay for that with spending. It's $500 billion a year. That's what I'm saying. Instead of collecting $500 billion in taxes, you're just going to let people keep it. You see what I'm saying? That's the video yesterday. This is what I mean by the deficit. So, but like, you hear this shit, it's like, what the fuck? The government's going to pay for it. They're just going to not collect tax revenue instead of collecting it.
Energy is the base layer of all economic activity. That's why the administration champions an all-of-the-above approach to energy.
Yeah, it has to pass, exactly. This all of this hinges on the spending deal. That deficit and the big, beautiful bill.
The Trump economic agenda is more than the sum of its parts. Trade, tax cuts, and deregulation may be three distinct policies, but each policy
TLT's loving this.
reinforcing and acting in concert, they push toward the same goal, to solidify our position as the home of global capital. The result of the president's economic plan will be more jobs, more homes, more growth, more factories, more critical manufacturing plants, more semiconductors, more energy, more opportunity, more defense, more economic security, more innovation. In short, more of all things we need the most. The president believes we can achieve more together. This is the abundant vision he has.
Yeah, I'm going to turn him up a little bit.
He wants everyone to be a part of it. Thousands of businesses are now catching the president's vision. Since he assumed office in January, companies have pledged to invest trillions into the U.S. economy. President Trump has secured more investment for our country in 100 days than President Biden did during all 4 years. Entrepreneurs, too, are starting to understand what the president is trying to accomplish. March saw one of the highest levels ever recorded for new business applications. Many of these men and women,
that is
like
true.
Many of you,
that was a weird
grasping
stat.
That America
Do you guys know that more people opened up businesses?
World.
I think it was like 32,000 or something.
When I entered public service, I spent more than 40 years in the asset management business. There, one mantra guides one of the world's most successful investors: never bet against America. Warren Buffett coined the phrase, and it's been his lodestar as long as he's been in the game. Never bet against America captures a time-tested truth. The American economy is unstoppable. Throw whatever you will at our capital markets. The Great Depression,
fucking
2
unstoppable.
World Wars, 9/11, a COVID recession.
Oh, he's running it.
Of the last few years, or sky-high inflation, each time the American economy gets knocked down, it gets back up again. And it gets back up even stronger than it was before.
Hey, man, that's word to the long
markets
term, though. You know
are
what I'm saying?
Anti-fragile. Indeed, the entire history can be distilled into just 5 words: up and to the right. On a long-term horizon, it's never a bad time to invest in America.
What a bro,
now.
dude. Up
The United
and to
States
the
is
right.
entering a new golden age of economic prosperity.
I
both
feel though,
Main
but
Street
like
and Wall Street, and we don't
he's
want
such a
anyone
tech
to get
bro,
left
or like a
behind.
stock
Come with
bro.
us so we can build a more abundant America together. Thank you all.
Thank you, Scott.
Please welcome Institute Chairman.
Oh, they are going to ask him
Michael
Q&A.
Milken.
Nice. What is this, bro? Don't tell me. Did he choose this music?
So, as a scholar in college, at a leading university, an accomplished fund manager, former professor, and distinguished career in finance and academia, your range of life options was unlimited. What inspired you
This is the Bond King
to
right here.
choose the field of public service, joining President
Pretty sure he
Trump's
went to prison, right?
administration in a very
And then got out, or
high-profile
did they just charge him? And let him
and
go?
I should say high-pressure
I don't know.
role?
I would agree on all the above. So, Mike, there was a long arc desire for public service. I had tried or considered going to the Naval Academy. I was applying in 1979. I wanted to serve my country. Due to sexual orientation, I was unable to. So even since I was a teenager, I wanted to serve my country. And I'd had a great career, like many people in this room, in finance. The country had been good to me. And as a economic history scholar, I was shocked at what was happening with these budget deficits. So last year, 6.7% of GDP, highest ever when we weren't at war, weren't in a recession. And I wanted to come out from behind my desk and be part of the solution, because I was afraid that 4 more years of that, and it was kind of a deeply cynical plan, I thought, run up the debt and then have to raise taxes and really stymie the American engine of growth, innovation, and opportunity.
Well, once again, we're very happy you took up that mission, and I can't think of a better person at this time to be the Secretary of the Treasury. Let me try.
That's good. They just clapping him up on that?
Over the years, we've had a number of.
That means the news tells you they don't like it, but that's a good sign if all these investors are
markets.
clapping for him.
And so
they like him.
You're the right person at the right time. But it's interesting when I think about it, how do you strike the balance between the administration's goal of reindustrialization in the U.S. and the risk of isolating the U.S. economy?
Well, I think that they're not mutually exclusive. And as I've said many times, that obviously in this trade puzzle, China's the biggest piece. Where do we end up with China? And I said during IMF week in Washington, said, it's possible that we could, as Ray Dalio might say, do a big, beautiful rebalancing. That if we want more manufacturing, everyone agrees except Chinese leadership that they need more consumption. We could actually do that together. And then, look, on the other side, that getting better terms of trade is not
it says China is the biggest piece of Trump's trade puzzle.
Straight line. It's not.
That's why I think maybe we're not reacting
process,
to the
but I think
any of the other headlines. All that matters is China.
The trading relationships will be stronger. Our security and values ties will still be there. I look back and I think about the example of NATO and German fiscal spending. So I lived in London for a long time, ran the Soros office there, and since forever actually, that whether it was the French president, the Italian prime minister, people in Brussels were trying to break open the German piggy bank. And President Trump, not in a straight line, not in what anyone would call a diplomatic manner, has gotten NATO countries to step up and meet their spending requirements.
Wait a minute. At least he's very honest about it.
These numbers are approximate, but I think only 25%, when he came in 2007,
in a very non-diplomatic way.
25% of NATO countries were meeting their spending requirements.
That's the funniest
now
shit ever.
Only 25% aren't. So the Germans, for the first time, are going to allegedly do a big fiscal spend, which will drive European growth. And so can we do the same thing on trade? I think so.
So let's talk maybe about a specific situation. You recently signed an historic economic partnership with Ukraine. And as you said, there was a few bumps along the way. Can you walk us through the role that the Treasury played and what is expected to come out of this agreement?
Let's walk backwards. That I was bemused, gratified to see that on Saturday, as I was coming out here, Friday, as I was coming out here, Washington Post lead headline was Russia now nervous after U.S.-Ukraine signed deal. And that I believe that this would happen in February. President Trump believed that it would happen in February. And this was President Trump's idea. He likes negotiating, as you know. A lot of people in this room probably know. And he likes creating negotiating leverage for himself. And the Ukraine investment partnership, the economic partnership, was his idea. And he believed that it would do several things. One, it would create more leverage for him with the Russian leadership when it was time to go to them. So the idea was start with Ukraine, sign a deal that shows that there is no daylight between the U.S. and the Ukrainian people. It would be a symbol to Ukrainian people that the U.S. is still there. It would be a symbol to a tired American public.
I was explaining this to my girlfriend. I was like, bro, that Ukraine deal was like solid.
it was possible.
So, especially for those of you who support Ukraine, that was good news.
And then it would,
like literally, like he's saying, it is it's an agreement that shows where the U.S. stands in terms of this whole conflict, it's on the side of Ukraine.
So he tasked me with drawing up the document, speaking with Ukrainians. I thought it was a good idea to actually go to Kyiv.
It's not even. It's funny. It's not even about minerals. It's a misnomer.
You fly to Poland.
So it's called the critical minerals deal. It's more about iron and fucking oil. But yeah, it does make sure that our support, though, now we have some sort of backing or first right of refusal. I think the deal's done. I don't know if it's ratified, and then we don't know what homeboy Putin has said yet.
Why did the Russians bomb Kyiv for the first time? So I went on February 10th. The Russians bombed Kyiv at 4 in the morning for an hour for the first time since November, because they knew the train arrived at 8. And
CRK, PayPal's been going all day. Spy near the high, but very slow and gradual. Apple and Tesla stopped dying. So
deal for the Ukrainians. Why didn't
that's it. And Nvidia. So Dow's the only one green.
Then President Zelensky elected not to sign it that day. He elected not to sign it at the Munich Security Conference a few days later. There was a little incident at the White House some of you may have seen. President Trump called it great TV. And when the deal went south that day, and I actually think in terms of the final deal, and Mike, I'm sure you, everyone in this room has seen it, that sometimes the blow up, you end up with a better deal. So February 28th was the blow up in the Oval, and what was going to be signed that day was actually just a 4-page memorandum of understanding. After that blow up, we at Treasury made the decision to try to make the blow up into an opportunity, and I instructed my team to go straight to writing the full agreement, which is 6 different agreements, varying lengths, but hundreds of pages. So we worked on that document, and then when there was the kind of recovery and trust between President Trump, President Zelensky, after the meeting at the Vatican, we signed the deal a few days later. And look, I think it's win-win. What it is not is one of these rapacious Chinese deals. Sign here, it's loan to own. You're going to default on the debt. We're going to own all your minerals, and that's life. This is economic partnership. They put in assets. We put in capital from the DFC, American Best Practices and know-how, and it's 50-50. It's equity, not debt. And some of our European partners were criticizing me at the G7, and I said, you know, guys,
Ukraine says it hit Russia drone command.
If you want to do a debt for equity swap,
so Ukraine just attacked.
Why don't you write off
right
your
now.
Ukraine debt, and we'll let you into our partnership. No one's called me yet.
Well, I think what struck me, Mr. Secretary, was this major oil find off Guyana. And Venezuela rattling the sabers and had sent a couple military ships. The U.S. then asked them what you're doing because that's Exxon, that's a U.S. company. And I think that to me underlined part of the strength of this agreement you struck. Let's talk about one element that many people have been concerned about, and that is what are the key components of deregulation? I know it's part of your economic strategy to spur growth. Are there any specific regulations that are at the top of your list for reform?
Yes, as I said at one of the smaller group meetings last night, maybe a few people in the room interested in private credit. And Treasury is taking the lead on financial deregulation. And I think private credit is an incredible new bolt-on to the world's deepest, the breadth and depth of the world's deepest capital markets. But the growth of private credit tells me that the regulated
low ticker's starting to pick up. You got your first 2 candles.
So
remember, all that's happened is pretty much big tech stopped dying. Treasury, the 3 names.
I convened something called FSOC, Financial Stability Oversight Council, And President Trump tasked me with helping him choose the leaders for the financial regulators. So they have installed a new vice chair for supervision at the Fed, Mickey Bowman. We are going to have a new OCC
Nikki Bowen?
head,
Nikki B?
FDIC.
Oh, no,
Paul Atkins has just taken over the SEC. Brian Quinn is at CFTC. So the regulators are aligned, and we're going to be like safe, sound, and smart in redoing regulated financial entities. And then, as I mentioned in my talk, energy, that's a pretty easy playbook, but the real impetus is going to be on permitting across all industries, and that's where the EPA comes in, putting pressure on state and the federal government's going to put pressure on state and local governments to speed up the process, the permitting process. So, what's the use in giving 1 year depreciation if it's 36 months to break ground? One CEO recently told me, he was talking about the difference between doing business in Texas and Illinois. He said, we started a project in Texas from the day we went to the city of Houston to talk about it to the day I cut the ribbon, took 2.5 years. In Chicago, we are still 7 years into the planning process. So we want to make everyone look more like Texas.
Well, you're in an area here called Malibu where maybe in 15 years you can build a house. So we are very accustomed to this. Let me talk about another issue. It was in 2017
QXM
the theme
or
of the
OXM?
global conference was building meaningful lives. Part of that was a reflection on the disruptions we saw emerging from advances in AI, robotics, digital assets. The world we felt was heading for significant change, and we scheduled dozens of sessions around that area. 8 years later, you're now the Treasury Secretary, navigating the nation through these various changes. Give us a broad view as to how you see these issues today.
Well, I said in my confirmation hearing that we have to win in AI and quantum, that if the United States doesn't take the lead, if we don't win, everything else doesn't matter. That
I'll pray for you, bro.
If we lose
But
the
if you don't want to do it, don't do it. And then vice versa.
China's catching up, which
Just
is
stop.
natural,
If you
but I
take
think
the idea
we
out,
will
if you're going to do it,
maintain
don't tell yourself they don't value you and do it because you want to.
On that.
I will keep you in the prayers, bro.
Again, what we are trying to do
Let's go.
is not pick winners and losers. We are just trying to set the environment for the best opportunity for
White House says no
entrepreneurs
final
to
decisions on
succeed,
tariffs, on movie
stop
tariffs.
Intellectual property
Oh, that's
theft.
good. Watch Netflix and Disney.
And in terms of making it accessible to
No
all
reaction, though.
Americans, I think that's going to be very important. I was out on the campaign trail with President Trump, and I was struck by there had been a big migration by the venture capital community to President Trump. So on one side, you've got the VCs, the most innovative, the people in the world. You've got Elon Musk, the richest person in the world. And the president's penultimate rally that I went to was in Pittsburgh, and these steelworkers showed up, and they got their vest on, they've got their hard hats, they've got their families. And the real idea is to make sure that innovators can innovate and steel workers can have the same quality of life and opportunity, and that their kids could be the Silicon Valley entrepreneurs, or they can stay and have the same life or better that their folks had in Pittsburgh.
Well, that is a great goal, and we hope we achieve it from that standpoint. Interest rates. You've often talked how important that 10-year interest
Everybody
rate
at this conference
level is,
cares
and
about interest rates.
When I
Just
look
so you
at
know.
financial markets over a
Milking
long period of
Bond
time,
King.
I can sometimes identify when that individual had come into financial markets by what period of time and the interest rates. So in the 1970s particularly, the volatility of financial markets, you saw over the next decade, many of the people that were CFOs became CEOs because how you financed your company allowed it to exist. In the last few years, we've lost 3 as independent companies, major financial institutions, due to the fact that they had bought $250 billion of U.S. government intermediate securities and borrowed overnight. So when you look at interest rates and the 10-year, and as I mentioned to you, I got this app on my phone that anytime the U.S. government's prices change,
I feel like he's about to like promote Rocket
in 2
Mortgage.
hours,
I got
off
this app on my phone.
So in the 1950s,
Please don't share that with the president. Please don't.
so in the 1950s, if you were trading governments, it was like watching paint dry. You could see an entire variation of maybe 2% in price in an entire decade. We now have seen a variation of more than 2% occur in more than one day. How do you see the importance of the level of interest rates in our economy and what you want to achieve?
I think that I'm not going to.
It's like I got this app that tells me the stock prices.
I won't talk about their future mistakes. I'll only talk about their past mistakes. So I thought it was important to focus on the 10-year, and the 10-year has a lot of things wrapped in it. It's the short-term rates, it's the term premium, and we're focused on creating the best environment for stable rates. And I think a lot of what we saw in April was this periodic unwinding that I've experienced, you've experienced, most people in this room have experienced in their career.
Is it push-up time?
I'm
is.
a big
You guys should go
believer
do a push-up.
in the Hyman-Minsky, stability leads to instability. So I think we probably had a very stable period. A lot of leverage players built up very large positions. There was an uncertainty shock. They're out. But what we're trying to do is to go back to the Trump 1.0 non-inflationary growth. So I think if we can put non-inflationary growth in place and take away, back to your initial question, why am I sitting here, is to take away the credit risk of the US government, then I think rates will naturally come down. And as I've said before, there's an opportunity here that if we can do it, the goal on one side, I call it reprivatizing the government, or reprivatizing the US economy. On one side, we want to bring down government borrowing slowly, maybe decrease the deficit by 1% a year. So by the time President Trump leaves office, we're back at the long-term average of about 3.5% deficit to GDP, and the denominator grows faster than the numerator. Debt to GDP
That's why
goes
it's
down.
so fucking high.
So we're decreasing.
I just got out of my crunch.
The government in
So
the
they're
economy.
basing their
At the same
deficit
time,
off of
we are
more economic growth.
right-sizing
Fascinating.
Government spending.
That's why the deficit's that high. But I still don't like it.
Government employment.
So that's
And
why
then on
when
the
he's
other side,
insinuating
through
1.7 on the video
deregulation,
yesterday,
we're
that means they're
re-leveraging the
assuming
private
that
sector,
growth is actually going to go
and then
higher.
the excess employment that was shed in
Interesting.
the government
Grinch.
economy
Okay,
can go to the private sector. One thing, I've never lived in D.C. before, but one thing that really struck me was within a 10-mile radius of D.C., 25% of the nation's economy pulses through there. And that's too much. Traditionally, it's about 21%. And we've got to make sure, we have a stewardship obligation to make sure that that is spent wisely.
So we were making a decision where to have the Milken Institute School of Public Health. Besides the fact the executive office building is 1 block away from GW, but every major decision on medical was located within a mile or so. And so the decision ultimately with the talent we had there with Lynn Goldman and others was we would go to GW because the decisions were being made there. Now, as you know, we spent 12 years building this building across the street from
Yeah, you had the
new
tariff
home at
update
the
on the
Treasury.
movies. No reaction.
And
Walmart
the
is going
Center
up.
for the American Dream, and we thought it was
Staples
a
are generally
four-year project.
doing good.
It turned out to
Everything's
be
still red.
a
Dow just
12-year
flipped
project.
red after going green.
But this passion for the ideal of American dream, I believe, is something you truly believe in. We've been asking 10,000 individuals in more than 100 countries around the world that live there or have come here how they interpret that phrase. What does that mean? What does the American dream that you're going to protect for so many of us, what does it mean to you?
It means a shared vision. We're going to approach the 250th anniversary next year, or we will have the 250th anniversary next year. And it's what does the next 250 look like? And to me, it's the equal opportunity for great outcomes. It's like I said, it's equal opportunity. If you're one of the children of the construction workers in the Duquesne Arena on November 4th, that you might be sitting here because you founded a financial services company, or because you're a medical researcher, or it's the opportunity for people in this room to continue to prosper. But to me, it's two things. It is the fact that the system works and that there is mobility, that we get rid of these discouraging surveys of families and children who don't think they're going to do as well as their parents. So we need a belief in the system, and we need to continue making sure that the system works. So to me, that's the American dream.
Well, you've wrapped that up in a bow for us here, and that what we have found in every survey for 12 years is the number one essential ingredient, condition that exists for the American dream was freedom to live your life, whether you want to be a steel worker,
Z-Car?
or whether you want to work in finance, or wherever you wanted to pursue, or whether you want to be the soccer coach of your daughter's soccer team. So, Mr. Secretary, we couldn't be happier that you took up the mantle of public service, and we look forward to your stewardship for the next few years. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is that it? All right. Well, you're going to hear from Mr. Bessent in the next couple of days. I think the Ukraine stuff was interesting, and then I popped up and I told you guys what he was saying there about the deficit. Because, again, he's still talking about lowering it, but they're using his 3-3-3 formula. But he's assuming that growth is going to go up, so that's why they could run that high of a deficit. Other than that, though, I think you guys have noticed that today market reaction has been very limited. So you had your little gap down in the morning. Again, we were going over trade, all this stuff over the weekend. No crazy updates. If anything, we heard that we weren't going to hear about it. And then you got to hear about Mexico and India. Then we had that. He did the manufacturing stuff and the write-offs. That was all good new info. But like I'm saying here, the market's reaction, you're kind of bogged down by some of the bigger tech moves. There was even an update here. Maybe we start reacting, but there was an update that the White House said that there's nothing final on movie tariffs. That's what we heard about over the weekend with Netflix and all that. But other than that, it's doing its thing, man. So we'll see. Starting to react now. And you got Constellation. They're making a pop. A little pop. All right. Everything today. I don't even think we're going to move, to be honest. So maybe towards the end of the day, you might get one. I feel like the market is going to want 10 days in a row of green, but if today ends the streak in uneventful fashion, I mean, there you have it. So we'll find out. But it's very small intraday. We've moved 0.5 at max, I would say. And then again, Dow just went back to green. That was the only thing that flirted with green today. Everything else stayed pinned. And then again, Bessent, He didn't really give you much. It's still early. We're only 11 minutes off of Euro close, so hopefully you guys did a push-up or something. And then remember, Europe is closed, and China, some places. So we haven't had much. But yeah, I don't think today's going to have, like, crazy ones. That's what I was worried about. Gil, Spy, Tessie. They stopped moving, though. Remember, Tesla, Apple, NVIDIA. If they start to make big moves, though, we are going to move down. And then if they can not go down, that eases up. Yen calmed down. That was fucking wild in the AM. Where's TSM? Oh, Palantir is today. Yeah, Monday. Yeah, we still have Carney coming tomorrow. We even heard about Mexico today. That sounded good, but the Carney, and then there's one more. And then we had bad Japan news, too. For Palantir, I don't know. You have to just go price it in. Disney's moving up. So, again, you have the movie stuff. I wouldn't be... I bet you I could eyeball it. Palantir's probably pricing in 12%, I would say. I don't know. I'm just going to check. 123. Yeah, so we're talking about $17. Yeah, you're doing a little bit more than 10. So it's about maybe 15%. So good luck with that. Hams. That's just what sucks. The names that don't price in a lot, I think you'll have a better shot. Otherwise, just remember, in the last 25 years, this has been a very off-par reaction on earnings. So if you beat, you're not, even if you beat by a couple standard deviations, it's not moving the same way. Same thing on the misses. So the reward system is a little skewed. Just keep that in mind. Like, if it doesn't price in a lot, I'm more likely. But again, I haven't really hit any earnings this time. McDonald's have been going up all day. Like, low-key, when Bessent, that thing's up 1.5. Again, you guys called out Walmart. It's not like everything's bad. I think today is just skewed. Again, equal weight should be green. Let's check, though. Yeah, equal weight just barely went red. And they got Philip Morris on the high. So, again, high-low ticker is even equal. Very slow. So, happy Monday, baby. I hope you guys are feeling good. I don't know. Maybe it kind of feels like a weekend still. We're just inching along into the week, no? Yeah, Clorox. There's still, again, it's like 8% of the SPY is reporting. So you still have a lot of names. It's just every play after here is just like, it's a lot smaller. It's none of these like multi-$100 billion market caps anymore. Toyota. I would like Toyota with the Japan news. And in general, like, Japan plays. So I don't think I put that chart on the watch list, but I believe last week you had the most amount of inflows into Japan all year, like in 2 years. So there's a lot of people going, like, Japan is very, very active right now, and whatever's going on with the currency and everything else, people are very attracted to it. So I like it. I don't own any CrowdStrike. We talked about that on Friday, though. A lot of the cyber guys in the chat said some good things about it. I think Crowd's a little too expensive, but if it ever came down, I'll put that on my list. Ford, I have no idea. I think the automakers are just, they're either going to do way better than feared, or they're gonna probably get clapped because of all the tariff stuff. I don't plan on playing them. I think those will be too messy. Philip Morris, 52-week high. This thing started running out of nowhere. And then SPY, after that little drop, again, bonds getting a bid. Your last headline was, there's a couple things came out from Bessent. Again, the manufacturing stuff, and then we heard deals on Japan and all that. Citi, Jane Fraser says, certainly been a fluid few weeks, speaking at Milken Global Institute. So now Citi, Disney's going up now. JP Morgan, banks, SPY's getting active again. Come on. NVO held up good. And there's earnings, but just chilling. And then Eli Lilly, though. Remember, Eli Lilly, bad earnings, but there's like an inverse between NVO and Eli Lilly. And then one day they'll match up. Citi says clients are prepping for headwinds. Companies are in a bit of limbo. There's a wait and see going on. CEO says most clients can absorb 10% tariffs. Okay, bonds still moving. Again, insurance, too. PGR, AIG, Allstate, they've been on the high all day. The Japan, well, I think the gold, Bessent talked about it in an interview over the weekend. He said it was because of tariffs. So, but other than that, I don't know if Japan's buying it, but there has been over this year, we were talking about a lot of gold moving literally to the United States, and Bessent said that's because of tariffs. But other than that, I don't really. I think gold has everybody around the world kind of betting against a lot of things, central bank actions, dollar currencies, everything going on. But I wouldn't really say it's just one country or one thing. Gold is truly fascinating. I think that way, even now where gold ends, that's going to be the crazy part. You see what I'm saying? Like, we're talking about gold right now, but wait till the story's over or we're later in the chapter, because whatever's gold is saying now or whoever's the reason, we're eventually going to find it out down the line. But for now, I'm not, like I've been saying the last couple months, kind of just let gold do its thing. I think there's big things brewing there, but I think a lot more questions than answers for sure. There's a theory, but Bessent said it like it kind of makes sense. Even then, it's like kind of it's kind of ironic that the like fear of Donald Trump literally got people to move a bunch of shit to the United States, ironically enough. But at least Bessent did blame, the treasurer himself blamed it on the tariffs, which was surprising. Gold? I thought you've been here for a while. Yeah, I own physical gold. Bro, 3,000, then it went to 3,300 like nothing. Bessent, U.S.'s best place to invest. That's coming across the wire. I don't know if that's old. Yeah, Wall Street Journal's just putting it out. Oh, wait, he's on an interview with CNBC now. Hold on. We got Bessent again.
Of what we have now, so we're not going to see a big stimulus.
Well, what's not an extension is the 100% expensing. So that has stepped down over the past few years. So we're going to go back to 100% expensing for equipment. And then a new aspect is we're adding 100% expensing for the actual factory structure.
Yeah, that's new.
So
that's
I
crazy.
think that 100% expensing
Dad, you guys
for
want to build a
equipment,
factory
100%
or what?
expensing for structures, along with tax certainty, and then the lower energy cost and dereg will really accelerate the economy. And the other thing too is like permanence is a stimulant. So so the uncertainty goes away, and we are going to make the 2017
I don't even know what we'd make.
Tax cuts and
I would
job
just buy a
act
coal
permanent.
compound
So
and then put a factory.
So
we get the write-off.
stimulus from the permanence.
Manufacture like
How are you
chairs
thinking
or something.
about
I don't know.
offsets? I know there's tariff revenue coming in, but the hope is as you get deals done on trade, ultimately there will be less of that.
But that'd be terrible if I made a coal compound and then I built a factory and then I had you guys like making shit. It's getting way too
That's
culty.
what a big part of the Doge effort has been.
And I'm like, yeah, guys, it's for it's our sacrament. We got to sew a bunch of tracksuits.
The areas.
And then you guys grow the food. And then it's good. It's good. We're going to receive honor. And I know, it's way too culty, bro.
I think both the House and the Senate, they are looking for substantial savings.
Right. ultimately, I guess the question is, what is the expectation? You tell your former fellow colleagues and investors here at Milken, they're wondering deficit projections. We've seen what's been happening with Doge. Clearly, you're talking up the tax cuts. What should be the correct expectations for the deficit?
Well, look, I think, and when I look in the mirror, I see a deficit hawk. And I tell a lot of the very eager senators and the members of Congress
equal weights back to green. SPY's not doing bad. SPY's starting to move back up here. It's only 0.3.
That every $300 billion is 1% of GDP. So if you want to cut $1 trillion this year, we can do it.
We just got to grow.
That's a 3% shock to GDP. The way to do it smartly, we're talking about bringing the deficit down by about 100 basis points every year for 4 years, get us back to the long-term average of 3.5%. And then a big cure for the deficit is upward growth shock. So CBO scoring is at 1.7 or 1.8% growth, no matter whether you have a tax cut or a tax hike. So we think that through deregulation, the permanence of the tax bill, we can get growth closer to something that looks like 3%.
By end of year?
By this time next year?
Where's the growth going to come from? You mentioned taxes. On deregulation, what sectors do you think are going to feel it the most, and we're going to see the most stimulative impact on the economy?
Well, what I've been talking about is reprivatizing the economy. So on one side, we're going to be bringing down government spending, which has been crowding out the private sector. We're also going to be shedding excess labor on the government side. Then on the other side, we have a substantial financial deregulatory agenda coming from, we put a lot of new regulators in place so the private sector can re-leverage, and we're putting a special focus on community banks, small regional banks, which we're very near what I would call an extinction event in the next 4 or 5 years. So the idea is to get them lending again too.
At the same time, we do still have this uncertainty factor around what's happening with trade. And
Dude, there's been a lot of headlines. The reaction is just hella muted.
CEOs.
You've heard from Mexico. You've heard about Canada. You've heard an update on a Japan deal. You got a new manufacturing tax write-off. He said it twice. We got trade deals coming up. India said they got a trade deal. So there's a lot of headlines, but the moves are very, very minimal. The Dow is loving it, though.
I have asymmetric knowledge, so I'm not uncertain because I think it's going well. Other people don't know what I know. So
you have to share that with us, then.
Well, I can say that I am highly confident that we have 18 important trading partners. We'll put China to the side. The 17 other partners, many of them have approached us.
Everybody but
with
China,
the
we're
very
getting closer
good trade proposals. President Trump is going to be involved in
VIX
all
has been
those.
green all day.
He will be the final decision maker, and we'll see where that goes. But I think that at the end of this, even if we have tariffs still in place, because the non-tariff trade barriers are coming down, because we could see an end to some of the currency manipulation, the unfair subsidy of labor and capital from the other countries, we could see the more...
Ultimately, that's the goal.
Well, the goal is twofold. The goal is to open the foreign markets and then bring back manufacturing to the U.S., and we're thinking about that in two ways. One is there's strategic industries. So during COVID, we saw that there were many strategic industries where the U.S. was woefully deficient, whether it was medicine supply chains, in chips, in steel, that many of the overseas suppliers were just unreliable partners. So we can't have that happen again. And then on the other side, we want to bring back manufacturing and rebalance the economy.
But China is key. I know you set it aside, and you're heavily involved here. You have said they need to de-escalate and start that process for us to get going on trade talks. Have they made any effort at this point?
I think we could see substantial progress in the coming weeks. We'll see. That I think it's Stein's law, that which is not sustainable doesn't continue. So 145%, 125% tariff levels are the equivalent of an embargo.
Yep.
And we're reading every day what's happening with factories in China. And from an academic point of view, I can tell you that the history of trade battles, we are the deficit country. The surplus country always has the most to lose.
So they need to make more gestures. What is it that you're looking for, and is that happening?
Yeah, this sounds different than the other day.
About the negotiation?
Yeah, we'll see over the coming weeks. And we'll see what President Trump wants to accept.
So that's the cold water on all the Friday shit.
Fentanyl, for instance,
again, it wasn't that bad over the weekend, but then
what they have said
Trump
publicly,
acknowledged it, but then by this morning they were like, nah.
I can tell you that these precursor fentanyl drugs are a real problem. There are a lot of Chinese companies. At Treasury, we have the ability to do a lot of financial surveillance, and we see Chinese corporates that are linked with the Mexican cartels, and that's got to stop. That's going to stop. Like, what is the price for these hundreds of thousands of fentanyl deaths that we have, the families that are left behind, and then the lives that are ruined?
Right. So when you were on a few weeks ago, we gave you a lot of grief when the market was tumbling. We saw this sharp sell-off. Now we've seen a pretty historic comeback with 9 straight up days, erasing all of the losses from the post-Liberation Day declines in the stock market. I'm wondering what you make of the rally, and also the fact that the 10-year yield, which I know you watch more carefully, still remains a little elevated here around 4.35.
Well, I mean, look, it remains elevated. It's down from January 1. It's down from January 20th. Right before Liberation Day, about 3 weeks ago, it was at 390. So what you're saying is it's elevated from 390, and everyone's saying, "Oh,
Google has
Bessent
launched
got what he
film
wanted.
and TV
10 years
production
at 390, but it's there
initiative."
for the wrong reason. It's because it's pricing in a recession.
Bro.
So
Google making movies?
We're pricing in better growth.
Dude, what would a Google movie be
I'm
like?
just focused on the right economic policies,
So like
bringing
take
inflation
Disney,
down.
but then have a bunch of
I prefer not to talk about
tech.
the market.
I don't even know, bro.
When it's volatile.
Google has launched
I get
film and
called
TV
upon,
production initiative,
but
Insider.
We came out of the gate on January 20th with 2 goals: getting interest rates down, 10 years lower, mortgage spreads are compressed, and getting energy prices lower, and energy prices are substantially lower.
Why should people not worry about stagflation? I know energy prices are lower, but there's a little bit of concern. We saw it in prices paid, services numbers today, with the tariffs coming on, that we will see flare-up of inflation at a slower growth moment.
Well, if I look at the Fed's favorite measure of
there's been a lot of movie news today, but none of the companies really reacted.
The 5-year,
and then oil's picking up right now.
On the year, so
yeah, oil just shot up 30 cents.
The market isn't pricing in inflation, and then there's nothing. I haven't seen anything. There's survey data that talks about a slowdown, but the hard data continues to be resilient.
Yep, saw it in jobs, saw it in services. Secretary Bessent, thank you for your time today.
Good to see you.
In the familiar place for you here at the Milken Conference. That is the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, Carl, on why he's talking up the growth prospects for second half and in the coming years.
Yep, looking for market reaction to that.
No, it was the shit last week was good. I think the China headline, it was there and they acknowledged it, but then they just got weird about it on Monday. So I think it's just all good signs, but clearly no progress everywhere else. But then we just heard about more negotiations with Japan. And when it's all said and done, with all the headlines today, we got a lot of information. Some of it's kind of old and adding to other things, but we are definitely not reacting to a lot. So just remember, even last week I was telling you, there's probably going to be headlines you respond to later or maybe down the line. So I think there's just a lot of stuff loading right now, and we're all kind of waiting, not to mention the back half of earnings, the buybacks, all of that. And then there's the SPY going. Again, oil, high ticker's actually really going. Yeah, dude, it's Cinco de Mayo. You guys know that? It's Cinco de Mayo. I didn't know. But it's Cinco of May. Stock Market Live, a story of long-term coming to a monthly deposit near you. 10% minimum. K Paso was good. Was good, man. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Dude, my mom knows what Cinco de Mayo is. You know that? I was surprised. She asked me yesterday. She's like, isn't tomorrow Cinco de Mayo? I'm like, yeah, Mom. How do you... I'm like, are you going to go party, Mom? What do you mean? How do you know? Why is my mom telling me about Cinco de Mayo? All right, man. I guess there is a connection between the Middle East and Latin. GTN, Gray Media, SPY starting to go up. There's like 3 or 4 little small cap runners. All right, well, you're going up. The NASDAQ's up a quarter. Russell is actually second best. I'm pretty surprised by that, considering it was the worst earlier. But other than that, see if the SPY, remember, if we close green, do you guys realize that this will be the 10th day in a row of green? So that's why I was like, it's kind of funny because we had all these headlines. We're not really reacting, but we were red. But then, yeah, like, if this goes green... Good morning. It's your birthday. Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Danny. Harda. Oh, welcome to the quarter, bro. How does it feel, quarter? I told you guys this story. Back in my day when we were in a frat in college, we had an old guy in our frat. He was 25 years old as an undergrad. And we called him Quarter because he was a quarter of a century. So welcome to the club now, Danny. I'm glad you graduated, though, and you're in finance, so that's good. But, yeah, you are now a quarter of a century. So I hope you enjoy it. It's good. Another year, another quarter of a century for the long term. Amen. Amen. Happy birthday, baby. Woo! No. 9 days isn't. So the gain we've made is the biggest in 9 days since 2004. But I think the biggest streak is like 18 days in a row, which we set in like 2022 or 2023. So, yeah, we could still go a lot more. But for now, the size is already very, very big. You already in? Oh, then you are a quarter, bro. I'm calling you. I already thought you were graduated. So you're a quarter now. But, yeah, either way, bro. Who gives a shit? As long as you get it, baby. And you're grinding. But you are a quarter. I remember. I called myself quarter for a long time. It's a good age because you still have like 3 years before like your hairline goes away and like heartburn, just depending on how you take care of yourself. But it's a good time, man. You're still young and then you're old enough to like know enough at least, but then still not like a boomer. It's a good time, man. It's a good time. And then savings, everything. Frontal lobe fully developed. I don't know if mine, I think mine stopped at like 12. Yeah, me. What? I'm 100 today. I love Cinco de Kwanzaa. What? This isn't it. Mid-20s. I think 24, 25 is where you're like, you're young enough to be young, and then you're like old enough to where like you're actually an adult, if that makes sense. Because I feel like 18, 19, 20, even 21, bro, is kind of like you're young. Like you're still kind of like you don't really have responsibility unless you grew up with a lot of trauma and a difficult childhood, which I could understand. Then you take on responsibility earlier. But other than that, it's still like I think 24, 25 is when you're like young and old enough to be young and old enough at the same time. It's a good time. It's a quarter. It's right there. Right there. Gray hair is fine. You still got your hairline, you're great. I say just keep sleeping. Get good sleep. All right, man. A couple of things still moving up here. Like we talked about, Apple, Tesla, and NVIDIA. We need that to move. Rider, R. Decent pop, actually. Dollar. Rider system. SPY going up again. Russell will be the next one to go green, but SPY's right behind it. Nice. And then you guys know, so you know the Watchlist video that I posted last week? Somebody reported it. So yeah, that video got demonetized for some reason. They said it doesn't meet advertiser standards because we went, being in the Palm Springs, you guys, Palm Springs. I don't know what I said. I don't know. But either way, Watchlist is member onlys anyway. That's what I'm saying. But yeah. Haters, I still love them. It's good. I only did that for them. That's what I was saying. I was just trying to be nice. Throw an extra video out there. Give them like a, I threw a watch list in it. But hey, I guess. White House spokesperson, no final on film tariffs. The admin is exploring. That's coming in again, too, on The Wire. That's old. But yeah, that's another update on the movie thing. You're making bread right now, literally. I've never made bread in my life, literally. No, I think even Disney could benefit off of that too. It's weird. I said it this morning. You guys have to realize, like, movie tariffs are not, it's digital. So, like, that's a big precedent. It's kind of insane because how can you, like, tariff that? What do you mean? Are you going to tariff it when it gets made? Are you going to tariff the purchase? Like, if Netflix buys an Indian movie, do you tariff a motherfucker like a royalty when they watch it? It's the weirdest thing ever. Yeah, that's what, but then again, this idea, we went from Netflix is bulletproof to literally, everyone's like, well, I guess he can tariff it, I guess. Or video, well, then again, Microsoft was raising video game prices before then, so I don't know, maybe, so it goes both ways, but it's odd. Praying to be a server instead of a food runner? Well, dude, I hope you get it too, man, because you could make bank. You know that? Did I ever tell you my sister? So, like, before she went to San Francisco and became a liberal, she worked at a restaurant, and this is how she would travel, because my sister's made money, but she just blows it all. That's why I said I was very excited that the only good thing that Trump has brought in out of my liberal sister is that he has scared her into saving money. I'm telling you, not once in the last decade has my sister told me she saved money. But after this whole tariff fiasco, she was like, I saved money. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. But that being said, she, back in the day, she was a server, bro. And like off of her tips, she would make racks. So I don't know where you're at, but in like California, they pay you less on the hourly, but like you could legitimately walk away with like hundreds or thousands of dollars a day in just tips, depending on how often you're working or what type of restaurant. But yeah, she made a killing off of tips, and then she spent it traveling the world. Mm-hmm. Yeah, as a way, it's a good one, bro. It's honestly, I think a lot of people I don't think people realize how much it makes. You know what I'm saying? It's service, and it's actually a lot of work. You got to go out there and like do a lot, but it's a really good take home just on the tips. I bought a home serving tables for 5 years. Yeah, straight up, bro. It just sucks because everyone, like my sister blew it, bro. I just remember, like, when I was young and then even getting older, like, she was touching bread, but she was just blowing it. She would just go take trips all over the world. At Morton's in DC. Morton's a nice place. Yeah, man. Shout out all the servers out there, bro. Yeah, y'all better get a long-term that tip account. Now we're gonna turn your tips into a house, man. Oh man. The experiences are priceless. They are, but like you still gotta pay rent, motherfucker. Because I don't know. That's what she'd be like, yo, can you pay my rent? Can you pay my student loan? Can you buy me this? I'm like, what? This don't make any sense. So, yeah, I feel, but balance. Future and current self. You are netting more in Anza? Dude, I was just looking at Anza. Did you live there? How do you like it there? Because I saw a place for sale there. It's kind of in the middle of fucking nowhere, but it's in between Palm Springs and like San Diego, really Temecula. But I looked at it and I was very fascinated. But I've never what's it like living there? Like it seems like nothing's out there. Great. It looks like I think you could get a lot of good property there, and it's still a drive. But what about like groceries and like living? You mean Salton Sea? That's another place. That's completely opposite direction. Salton Sea is by like East San Diego. It's not even San Diego. It's Borrego. Oh, I guess Anza. I'm thinking. Oh no, I'm thinking of the other one. Is it called like Anguina? No, Anza. The one on the way to Palm Springs. You just do it better. Let the risk push you towards the rewards. Get it long term. What up, baby? No, not Salton. That's Salt and Straw, I think. No, Salton Sea. That's the place in California that everybody thinks there's lithium. And they call it Lithium Valley now, believe it or not. You could still buy cheap property there, but it's just like, it smells terrible. So if you guys don't, Salton Sea is just like, it's a ghost town. It's a wasteland. It's legitimately a wasteland. Most people don't know about it. So like in the 50s to like the 80s, 70s really, Salton Sea was like a beach. It was like a popular area. They had a place called Mecca. They had resorts, bro. It's a wicked story because now it looks like Mad Max, and it was so popular. It was a beautiful place. It was like people would go on the lake, boats. There was restaurants, there was hotels, and then like everybody started moving there, and then they started farming and then irrigation, and then like the runoff created like it like contaminated the lake and then the water, and then before you know it, like all of the demand and then the waste management pretty much destroyed the lake. Then there was like minerals spilling in the lake. Netflix popping. So again, watch, and then SPY wants to go up. We did get those updates a couple times, and then announcing Google Vertex AI prediction endpoints. But yeah, it was just like, no, it was just a natural, like, it got really popular. Then everybody, like, boomers exploited the land. Then the runoff was terrible. Then it killed everything in the fucking water. And now the place just smells like dying fish. And then there's, like, toxicity because of all of it. And then it'll just take, like, another 10, 20 years just for them to clean it. Because tech can't even clean it up yet. But other than that, the latest development in the last 5 years, they were like, there's a huge lithium deposit below it all. But houses are still cheap as fuck there. Like, you could go buy a house for $100K in Salton. It's in California, next to the water. You could buy a house in California for $100K. It looks like a fucking nuclear fallout. That's it. And it probably won't get popular for like another 10, 15 years again, if that ever happens. I think it'd be worth it if there wasn't like health risks. That's it. Like as long as there wasn't like, if it didn't smell like death and if it wasn't toxic, I think it'd be a great place. It smells like opportunity. They have algae blooms that are straight rancid. That's apparently why people don't go. It just smells terrible. It just smells, yeah, it literally smells like death. Like, I kind of want to take my girlfriend there. I should do it. I should tell her that we're going to go on like a nice trip. I should tell her I'm going to take her to Amman. I'm going to be like, yeah, we're going to Amman Giri. I got everything booked out. Because then it's like the drive, you know? It would seem like we're driving there. And then, yeah, and then we pull up, and then, boom, Salton City, son. What up? Oh, I might do it, bro. I might do it. But I hate smells, so I don't know if I could last. Yeah, Tesla, again. Watch Apple. Apple and Tesla are switching. One goes, and then the other comes down, and vice versa. Down to rip Amman. You got it like that? Dude, I can't afford Amman. I'll never be that rich. I'm sorry. No. Even if no, bro. I'll never be able to afford $5,000 a night. I just can't do it. I grew up poor, dude. Fuck that. Fuck that. I'll go buy a $500,000 car. I don't give a fuck. But I'm not spending $5,000 a night on a fucking room in Utah. You got me messed up. If you would like to buy it for me, I will donate it to charity because it's still too much. So, yeah, it's a lot, bro. I'm not a fan of Amman. For Utah, crazy. Maybe Amman, Philippines. Yeah, the Dominican Republic, they got a nice one. Any Amman outside of America, I think it's reasonable, even at like $2K a night, but that's for what it is. But I'm not doing $5K a night for Utah. Italy unwilling to ease condition and risk to Unicredit deal. And then Democrats sue Trump admin for gutting health agencies. MTX. Pop 1%, kind of big. It's a liquid. We saw another. What was the other one? I think KDP or there's another small cap that popped. But a couple of the small cap pops haven't followed through yet. But 1.1, kind of decent, related to materials. MTX, and then Uber on the high. And Netflix still going. Netflix still down 1. That's wild. Look it up. Salton has a cool history. It's very fascinating. It's just a ghost town in California. So like 50s to 70s, it was popping. That's why, but like think about it. Nobody takes their kids there anymore. So like between the 50s and 70s, that was like a place people went. You know what I'm saying? They would go get a boat. They would take their family. You would go to this beach town. Like it was like a party, right? But then it just died off. Because of how bad it got, and then it just failed. It just turned into a ghost town. So, like, think about it. The next, 30, 40 years, it just faded from culture. So, it has a lot of things going on. That GPUS, that was the other small cap today. It's literally up 500%. We think we saw it at 300. Lake Como? That's crazy. If you're going to go, that's Italy. If you're going to go there, go to Courchevel. It's in Switzerland. That's where I want to go. My girls told me about it, and that's the rich ski area. But I like Courchevel, and it was nothing there. It was $5K a night. You search Salton Sea. It's fast. We should go. I'm down. Should we do a cult field trip? I would love to. We should actually do that. Maybe one of these, instead of me vlogging it, we should just go. We'll take a party bus. Hey, let's just drive 2.5 hours out to Salton Sea. Let's all get like fanny packs and shit, and then we'll get like a tour guide or something. It'll be like a crackhead on meth, and he'll walk us around and he'll tell us everything. That'll be fun, and then we'll go back home. Mm-hmm. I'll do it. I'm down. I say, assuming a confirmed, I will have to do a background check, and you will have to submit your ID. But maybe on the next quiz, the top 10, you guys could come with me to the Salton Sea, and we'll go. I'll do that. That's what the prize will be. You got to pay for your own travel, but if you can make it to California, I will buy a party bus, and we will go to Salton Sea. That's it. So you got to meet the background check, though. So that's it. If you've been banned before, you are excluded. So unfortunately. Mm-hmm. There's a lot. There's a lot of weird shit out there. That's why I've only heard of. I've never been there in my life. I just know about it. I know a lot. I even back a couple years ago, I had one of my investor dudes. This guy, he's really rich. He was trying to buy property, and somebody put him on about the lithium. And I told him it's worth it, but you can't go too crazy. There might be a lot of lithium there, but I think it's like 10, 20 years till extraction. I don't think you're going to make any money on lithium plays there for another 2 decades probably. Just the tech, it's really bad. It's just like you need, again, I've never been there, so I could only judge off of theory, but it's not radiation. It's just like, it's toxic though. It's just like, there's like, I forgot what it is. It's something in the air and it smells like sulfur and dead fish, but then like, it's just not healthy and you could smell it. But it's like, you could clean it up, but it's going to take, like, the technology isn't even there yet, surprisingly. That's the wild part. Yeah, you can't go swim. Oh, yeah, you can't swim in it. No, if you swim in it, you probably die. Or you'll get something. You'll end up in the hospital, maybe. And I think, did you send that to me a couple years ago? If the land isn't expensive, hold it. I would hold the land. If it's cheap, if there's no high taxes, but I wouldn't, like, there's people who have gone out there and they're like getting scammed and they're buying a lot of it, but that's not it. If you got it at a low price, I would hold it. I would hold the land. There's a dude on YouTube that swims in it. That's amazing. God bless him. I'll pray for him. Palantir reported early? It doesn't look like it, but I could check. I don't see any Palantir earnings, no. Is produced by bacteria decomposing in the lake's oxygen. Blech. Yeah, I thought it was just sulfur. It smells disgusting. I've never been there, though. I just know what sulfur smells like. I hate it. Thermal. No, you know what I like? Cathedral City. That place, I know, what's his name? Ryan. And the Colt is already out there. He already bought early, but after being in Palm Springs recently, Cathedral City is very nice. It's like good location, and that place is still like cheap, and it's already like starting to go more. Now, and they never had like the whole Airbnb shit, but yeah, I like Cathedral City more than Thermal for now. But that's again, there's a lot of these little places in between that I think are cool. Got a condo in Chicago, Gold Coast, into investments, looking to reposition. No, I would go to Arizona. Florida, stay away from Florida for now. Unless you could find an off market on Florida for a good deal, but I want somewhere in Florida. I want a Miami place, but the prices are too high. The inventory is through the roof. If you're going to go anywhere with that condo, I would go to a low inventory area so you can maximize it. Or if you're going to go Florida, you better get it off market or like well below value. Yeah, that's what sucks. Otherwise, Arizona's up there. Inventory climbed a little bit, but I think Arizona is way more favorable than Florida right now for real estate. It all depends on price, though. So like I'm saying, everything I just told you, if you could find a good place in Florida at a good price, then I would jump on it if you could get the right one. But that's kind of been the problem. I like Florida a lot. I just the market needs to absorb the supply. I've looked into St. Pete. Yeah, I like all of Florida. I think it's very attractive, but at the same time, a lot of people already went there. And Florida from 2008 till today, their issue is supply. And that's why you get this. The only thing that's happening this time is people are greedy and inflation, and that way the prices aren't coming down. But I believe right now, I think the amount of homes in Florida, like available supply, I want to say it's higher than 2017. I think it's a ridiculous number. That's why it's crazy. Florida's housing market is very, very flooded right now, but the prices are still elevated. That's why I think it's dangerous, because a lot of people will see Florida, and it's just very easy to overpay if you're not really realizing it. All right, you're starting to come back up here. Palantir, Reddit, Apple's even moving. Again, Netflix recovered a lot of the loss, but Russell and SPY are just down a quarter now. NASDAQ 0.3. I see what you're saying. Hold on. So I do have a weird website that shows the Palantir report. Yeah. So let me check the preview. But I have a weird website that says Palantir reports earnings, and it gives numbers. So let me compare. I want to see if it matches up with the guidance. 862.3. It looks like it's in line. Hold on. I'm skimming through it. But it has the right guidance. But it's a weird ass source. It's a org, and it's like a gazette posted by an individual. I think it's fake, to be honest with you. But it has numbers that match up. So yeah, there's a report right now going around about Palantir earnings dropping. And I have it, but it says a slight beat. Okay, where is it? So yeah, here it is. I put out this stream alert. I'm just saying we're going to go over this. Yeah, this is a hella fake. It's just like this weird-ass website. So look. This is the it's the Pinnacle Gazette it's like by a person. It's a weird.org. This is not an official news site. And it says, look, May 5th, Palantir, this 862, the guidance was 862.2. They're saying they beat by 0.1, and then it's the same EPS, and then that's it. And then it just starts talking and what analysts said and all of that. So there is something in that. It did come out today, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird. I don't think it's legitimate, but the numbers do line up. Because usually people will like repost an old one, but no, in this case, it matches up with the right guidance, but I don't know if that's a legitimate source. The heading, it's called Ever Magasi, EVRI. So right here, EVRMAGACI.org. And then you go to, it just looks like this. Like, look, it's just like an ad with like, he's just making money off Google AdSense ads. Infamous baby torturer. What the hell is this? Yeah, just a bunch of weird shit. All posted today. Yeah, so I think it's fake, but I don't know if people are responding to that. But someone was like, oh, Palantir leaked. I was like, no, it didn't. But then that something came back. It wasn't like a real one, but we'll see. Just be careful. Umana. I don't see news. Are we going to melt up? Well, I think we need news, but then again, we've had a lot of news and we haven't had a reaction. But if today goes green, the streak continues. If today doesn't, you end this bullish mania that you were riding up on in the last couple of weeks. Maybe the FOMO calms down a little bit. Like a SEO fake news site. I don't think even then, we'll see. We'll see what the report is, but if it was fake, I don't think the person understands stocks because they made it beat estimates by only 0.1, thinking that was because that was, even if it was a leak, it's like that wasn't even good. Like it wasn't. They beat by 0.1 and then EPS in line. So that's why maybe it's real, maybe it's not, but I would just take it with a grain of salt. Right? Remember, Reddit was up 30% at one point. Kathy Wood loses confidence. Did she sell out of Palant? Where is Kathy? Right? Wouldn't it be a blowout or a major miss? I agree. Either way, that's just weird. And then Reddit's still climbing. XPEV getting a candle. Where's China 2? Again, Baba is already actually up. The 14-day record. So we'll see. Was that the max or was it 18? I remember it was recently we set this record. So I can't believe we're doing it again. But yeah, I remember. The Fed cutting, I think 0% at this meeting. In the next 2 days, he's not cutting at all. I mean, maybe unless Joe Biden's going to run for president. But other than that, I don't think Powell's going to be cutting. The data's good. The market's already even recovered a little bit. You know, we're making a lot of developments, but just for the sake of everything, I think Powell's in a good spot. I just don't know if he's going to flip-flop with, one day he's bearish, one day he's bullish, one day he's a Republican, one day he's a Democrat. So I do think, though, we're probably just going to end up debating on what he doesn't say. There might be QE in the form of quantitative tightening in the bonds, but other than that, I think he might just talk about economy, trade, and kind of what we heard him last say, but I don't think a rate cut's on the table for the next 48 hours. The bond auction, not this one. It could still give you some reaction. It's still big, but the one on Thursday is the 10-year. That'll be the big bond auction. Why haven't I marketed the YouTube? We never done marketing, so that's it. I mean, we started this for other reasons. It worked out well, but yeah, I've never advertised. I've never paid $1 for an ad, and I try to post on my social media, but I only do what I want to do, if you haven't noticed by now. So when I want to market, I'll market if I have time to, but I'm not overwhelming myself with anything. Just chilling, bro. Living life, calling out stocks, building long terms. It works nice. The site was new. Primary site, main domain is Turkish. Yeah, it's probably fake. Very interesting, though. Oh, 10 years tomorrow. I thought Thursday. Maybe it is tomorrow. But I know there's the 10-year auction. That's the big one, though, whenever it happens. It's 30-year on Thursday. But, yeah, the duration's like, I think it's like maybe like 10 or 20 in the short-term notes. But I think 10-year, 30-year long end of the curve, that's what really matters. Yeah, that Rider one came down. All right, well, 9:30. You guys want to do another push-up? I need crunches. But I do need to go to the bathroom. So follow me on Instagram at the Trading Fraternity, Real Cult News, and I will BRB.
Posted on social media, share details of how much territory would be seized in the enclave, but said the population would be moved for its own protection. Officials earlier said Israel could seize all of Gaza in an expanded operation. President Trump said Sunday he will direct the Bureau of Prisons to reopen Alcatraz prison to house the nation's most ruthless and violent offenders. He said he wants it to be rebuilt and expanded. In his post, the president referred to, quote, radicalized judges, his words, who have, he said, they want to have trials for every person in the country illegally. The notorious facility was closed more than 60 years ago because it was too expensive to operate. Now, of course, it's a national park. A record-breaking 21.8 million viewers tuned in to see Sovereignty take home the $3.1 million prize at the Kentucky Derby Saturday. The race aired, of course, by our sister network, NBC. Streaming platform Peacock also brought in the highest traffic of all partnered streamers. This year, Scott, there was a lot of mud. Attendance was lower than last year, but the betting 11% higher. That's pretty significant growth.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it was sloppy. For certain, but it was exciting.
Sure
nonetheless.
Was.
Contested thanks, Contested Brewer. Coming up, we have fresh trades in the energy space. Oil hitting its lows for the year today. I'll tell you what they are next.
Oh, I'm still peeing. At least they're not going to give you like a thing. You know, no ads. Okay, we're good. We're good. America has a gambling problem. Oh, yeah. 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 It's interesting. I think spending, we have a spending problem. We love spending. Paid off mortgage today. Wow. Congratulations. Freedom. Plus property tax. Option trading is similar to cancer. Yeah. It's still great, though. Love it, bro. Love it. Nice Tesla pop. Well, if Tesla could come up, you need NVIDIA and then Apple. But yeah, Tesla, otherwise, that was just a lot of pressure from those two. But again, equal weights up. SPY and Russell are kind of matched up exactly right now. But those are close to going green, and then Dow's the only one. Gone to jury duty? I have been to jury duty, yeah. Reverse mortgage when I'm 55. No, 62, bro. 62. But that's a good idea. There you go. There you go, baby. There's no react. Well, today is just one of those, but then again, like we talked about last week, you might have that environment where the market's hella weird. There's a lot of emotions, and you just made literally a historic move, and we're still like, 10 days away from it? But, you might get very delayed reactions, or some days you'll respond to seemingly small stuff, or then big news will happen, and then we'll react later on another confirmation. But then there's been a lot of things like brewing. It's hard to sell the news when you've had the same thing for 3 weeks, 2 weeks at the very least. Like Japan, India, like I think a lot of that shit's just baked in because we hear about it and there's updates. Some of them are bad updates, but you're just so used to it. And then again, even if you get those deals, you still have the overhanging China issue, which is probably the largest one. IRM's running. I saw that the other day in the long term. That thing just whoop. And China's been doing good too, but haven't heard much. Again, China's still closed. There's holidays. Nvidia's starting to curl up. So again, we hit the high, but everything else still red except the Dow. A deal confirmation. It depends on which deal, right? So I think a China deal is going to be very positive. Make no mistake. When the day that we have like no questions asked China deal, markets are going to rip. But every other deal might be sell the news. Just because we've heard about them a lot, but it also kind of just depends on what they actually announce. But I do think, yeah, it depends very, very country by country. But really, China's the big one. I think China is where it's all there. And if you start noticing that we get headlines and don't react as much, then maybe that's the answer, that no one really cares about anything but China. I did see the Japan currency. I think it's because of the Taiwan dollar. If you guys didn't see that, something happened. It's very weird. The Taiwan dollar strengthened like massively. It's actually insane. The most in 30 years overnight, and the holiday didn't help, but I think that move on the currency moved the yuan. It moved every other currency, and then that's why the yen is one way and then our bonds are the other. But it's very crazy. But I think all currency moves today is Taiwan. No one really knows what it is. They're saying that companies are trying to move their currency from dollars to Taiwan to get ready for tariffs or anything else. But no, it's like a reverse flash crash. I think that Taiwan thing's in the next 2 weeks, you might get something big. I don't know which direction. If it was weak, I would have been able to easily tell you, but it's a reverse flash crash. You just strengthened out of nowhere. Again, in one day, you've done what you haven't seen a move like that 30, 40 years. For what? You know what I'm saying? For what reason? No one knows. It could be exasperated by the holidays and there's no like UK support and all that, but it's still like odd. So that is something, and I think that had a huge hangover effect today. I think, well, no, because it hurt China, because it strengthened the yuan too. That's why it doesn't make any sense. It was like a reverse flash crash. You would think it would weaken. You would think Taiwan and the yen, but no. Pinduoduo pop a little bit. It was already at the highs. Again, I already had K-Web up here. So, yeah, very, very weird. Scott Bessent, yeah. And then you're going to hear Scott Bessent every day this week, you guys. Tomorrow and then the next day. Towards equipment, yeah. And anybody who's already announced, Oracle, NVIDIA, IBM, any of those companies that have already announced, it makes sense. They're going to get a tax. I think that's it's very bullish. But other than that, I don't know if there's like any other plays that people aren't really aware of. But generally, yes. The only thing is, like I'm telling you, that spending bill is very important. And I think that's going to have a lot of implications for everybody's future. But, you know, the way you get these tax cuts, the way you get these write-offs is that bill. So it all hinges on that getting approved and those amounts and then the permanent tax cut, all of that stuff. I wouldn't say anything else to look for today. Maybe headlines from the war, Ukraine, Russia stuff, and then the earnings after the bell. You'll get Palantir and a couple of others, and then getting ready for Canada, Mexico stuff tomorrow, mainly Canada, and then Powell. But there is some data. Mainly, though, I would say this week is about Powell and whether or not this momentum and the deal momentum can continue, or if we got a problem. You know, because just like 2022, that's what I'm scared of. Because although some people have gotten very confident as of late, the worrisome part, just like 2022, is that we had a massive bounce like this from the bottom, and then quickly enough, you were right back down. So that's what we got to work out, or what we got to watch out for. Do you know the play? I don't like energy plays, so I'm not too in there. And like I showed today, any like buyout plays, and if you guys are trying to get in the middle, calculate how much money you can make percentage-wise, because some of these plays, like in how they've moved, there's not much. I think BP has more meat on the bone, but they even said today they're like either waiting for share price or oil price to move. So it's not really the market right now with high rates for like too much M&A, and until they actually announce the deregulation. So I'm not there yet. The Palantir talk, I think it just fake news came out. There's like a fake earnings leak going around, but I think it's unreal. I would rather lean towards that than not. But they report after the bell. U.S. Army is pausing flights around Pentagon, pending investigation into flight that disrupted 2 civilian flights. And then Israeli Air Force now bombing Houthi targets. GE still going up. ISRG. Then Spire, you're slowly melting up, but you're still negative. I think, sadly, the green or red move will probably be determined by the last 10 minutes. And then, dude, gold is just up, staying pinned. Oil's already down. My goodness, chatter down here. Nolan, welcome. Okay, Spy's trying to move. Again, TWGE. High ticker has some names. I don't even know what's on the low ticker. Let me see. Let's see the checkup. Rubric on the high. So Dow Jones, you got 15 green, 15 red. It's a little bit better. Glad to be a member. I'm glad you're here, baby. Are you ready? We got Philo in a little, too. Woo! Welcome again to long term, baby. That's it. And then just don't LARP around, okay? That was weird last week. We had somebody pretend to be a 19-year-old, and I was really excited for them for a little bit, and then it just got really weird. Once we were like, wait a minute, this is a grown man pretending to be somebody else. I wonder what he did in his past Chad life. But NASDAQ 100, you have 54 green, 47 in the red. And then 298 green, 205 on the red on the SPY. So it got a little bit better. Eli Lilly declares dividend. Don't shame people for their identities. No, I'm not. I'm shaming them for being deceptive. Are you familiar with that? So I don't show my identity, but I wouldn't really be too deceptive about your purpose in the chat. But then you guys be careful too. That's why I always tell you, you could be talking to anybody, and just because they know what the cult is and other things, you should be careful. And I would, get a long term. If they don't have a long term, they don't like you. What? Here we go. We're almost there. You're going to start working out this week. Get ready. You'll get tired. You will get tired, but after the first couple of weeks, it feels really good. Then you wake up with energy. It's a pyramid scheme, but it works. It works. Dino on the high. Dino. Likely an AI preview that was written in it sounded like the preview Rite Aid intends to file second bankruptcy, announces job cuts. What is the best advice you ever received? Seek the Lord first. It's probably one of the best. Then save 10%. And then buy a house. IWM, right at 2,000. Russell wants to go. I was surprised that Russell was lagging heavy in the morning. But even then, from morning till now, news, cash open, is still mad slow. You have moved like 0.6 on the day, intraday. You've moved more on the gap down than you have throughout the whole entire 3 hours we've been here now. The creator of the universe doesn't build a staircase to nowhere. Amen, bro. Tell him. There is a 3-year bond auction today, yes. I believe so. Shopify on the high. Ruckus, Tandem, a lot of healthcare and like diabetes plays. And even Teladoc for crying out loud. Tesla breaking out. It's getting back up there. I wouldn't call it a breakout, but that's good. I think that helps the market. You just need Apple and NVIDIA. NVIDIA's not even that bad. Apple. FCC Carr says agency doing normal review of Paramount merger. Looking into complaint over CBS News. We've got a lot of headlines. Just not too much reaction. And then I hate Paramount. And then I don't know. I don't know if this is my assistant texted me to go look at this email. I have a Chad that is willing to give away a trip to Cabo. So I told him to tell him that we don't. So I don't know if this is legit, but there was a Chad who said, Josh, I have a condo, or it's at a hotel. He has a timeshare. I don't know what the catch is. I don't know if it's legit because I'm scared to. But he said we should give it away for one of the games. He said he has a week in Cabo, and he's willing to give it to the Chad. So I'm down. I just need to make sure it's real because I would hate to send one of you guys to Cabo, and then you get there and you don't have a place. Axios citing senior officials. Israeli attack in Yemen carried out with coordination of U.S. It's for next week, though. So it's May 10th. May 10th to May 17th. All right. Well, yeah, give me the details. I'll see. I'll look into it. I'm down. Oh, MPC. The other one was MTX. Dozens of Israeli aircraft are said to be participating in strikes against Houthis. Yeah, they got pissed, bro, because the Houthis hit the airport. You guys know that over the weekend? The Houthis sent drone attacks on the Israeli International Airport. That's very escalatory. Not a good target. I don't know if it was ballistic, but that's a bad target, though. That's a very, the Houthis were like bombing the Red Sea and doing all that other stuff, but hitting an international airport is that's very bad. It's very escalating. I mean, all the other shit's bad too, but that's just is a different level of what's the word I'm looking for? Audacious. Yeah, maybe they got like that's a big target, and it's not like your normal, like you're going after an international airport. ITKC. Dude, the high ticker is still, there's like a lot of names. What's industry-wise? So consumer durables, industries down. Tech is doing good in staples, at least on the SPY. And again, the SPY got a little better. You had like at least 50 more names up. Philo soon. Oh, shit. I guess so. Well, look at that. Yeah, I think so. Let my shit load up. I think it's time. I didn't realize. It's already 10, dude? Feels early. That's it. I just feel early. Too early. Too early. All right. Well, might as well. Let's get moving on over. Unfortunately, you will need a membership. So shout out to all the new members. But if you don't want to hear me talk about life, or Jesus, you may not want to join and save yourself $5. But if you miss anything, don't get mad at me. That's your personal decision. So other than that, we're going to go to Philo right now. And then we're going to be back, hopefully, right before Power Hour. So other than that, I don't think, you might get more headline. I think the last 10 minutes of the day is probably going to move everything. So we'll see. Unless there's breaking news, you're probably not going to miss much. So Chattadonia, God bless you. God bless America. I will see you at the Philo. Peace.